Listen. Practice. Speak. Practice makes you perfect.
Today, we're really diving deep into something that, let's face it, causes a lot of stress for almost everyone. The job interview.
Oh, absolutely. High stakes.
Totally. And we're specifically looking at it today, for those of you who are doing this, when English isn't your native language.
Mm.
Because, I mean, interviews are stressful enough, right?
Mm.
But then you add that layer of navigating a different language,
Mhm.
thinking about the right words, grammar, how you sound, even those little cultural things.
Mm.
It just ramps up the pressure, doesn't it?
It's a huge amount of mental effort, yeah. You're trying to talk about your skills, your history, and you're monitoring your English, maybe translating in your head. It's tough.
It really is. And
Okay.
we know there are so many talented people out there who have all the skills, but maybe worry their English might hold them back in an interview.
Exactly. And that's what this deep dive is all about. We want to tackle that head on.
Right. So our mission today is basically to give you a shortcut, a really focused guide to feeling, well, not just informed, but actually confident for your next interview.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to arm you with key strategies, look at the questions you're almost definitely going to hear, and give you some practical English phrases you can use right away. We're drawing heavily from this fantastic source we found. It's a mock interview video that really breaks down a realistic scenario. Super helpful.
Yeah, that source is great because it's not just about what you should say. It gets into the how and the why, and critically how to build up that, a muscle memory for responding.
Muscle memory, that's a great way to put it.
Especially for English learners, getting that natural flow, that instinctive response is just so key when you're under pressure. It helps you feel more comfortable.
Precisely. So think of this as like your personal coaching session. We want to boost your English fluency and confidence for interviews. We'll follow that mock interview from the first nonverbal moment right through to the very end.
Covering the words, the body language, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
We want you to feel ready to not just get through your next English interview, but to actually, nail it. So let's kick things off with those crucial first impressions. Okay, so let's break this down. You've just walked into the room. Maybe your heart's pounding a bit.
Yep, happens to everyone.
And what's that very first physical interaction? Almost always it's the handshake. And our source, that mock interview, really hammered home how important this simple action is. It's way more than just being polite.
Oh, definitely. It's like a silent greeting, It says a lot before you even open your mouth. The analysis we looked at basically calls it the most critical nonverbal part of that first impression.
Oh, most critical.
Yeah, it sets the tone immediately. And
Yeah.
you want that tone to be, positive, professional, confident. Some studies even link a good handshake to getting hired. It kind of establishes that physical connection.
Okay, so what makes a good handshake according to the source? What are the specifics?
Well, the advice is pretty consistent. It needs to be firm, but, not like a bone crusher.
Right, not aggressive.
Exactly. You're not trying to win an arm wrestle. You're showing you're self-assured, maybe a bit of warmth, professional. That's the goal.
And the source mentioned something about modern etiquette too, right?
Yes, absolutely. And this is important. Men and women, same handshake style. Extend your right hand. Make sure you get that good web-to-web contact,
Yeah.
And then just one or two firm, sort of controlled pumps. We're past the point where different handshakes were expected based on gender, thankfully.
Good. So a solid professional handshake helps set that positive first impression right away.
Instantly. It shows you're composed, you're ready, you've got a positive attitude. And think about it, for non-native speakers, this nonverbal cue happens before you even start speaking English. It signals confidence right off the bat.
That's a great point. Okay, so handshake done. What usually happens next? Small talk, right?
Yep, almost always. Right after the handshake, before the serious questions start. It's that icebreaker phase.
And it's not just filling silence, is it? It actually serves a purpose.
It really does. It's designed to just ease everyone into the situation, make it a bit less formal, less tense before you get into the nitty-gritty. Psychologically, it helps build a little comfort. The more comfortable they feel with you, even just chatting, the better.
Yeah, I can see that. The mock interview gave some typical examples, didn't it?
Yeah, things like, how are you doing? Or, did you find us okay?
Right. Or the weather. Always the weather. Nice day out, isn't it? Or how was your weekend? Simple stuff. But honestly, sometimes those feel like the hardest questions when you're nervous.
Oh, I know. You can totally blank on your own weekend.
Exactly. I did that once. Just nothing. Mind empty. So the advice on handling small talk is actually pretty vital.
Totally. And the strategy is pretty simple, really. Keep your answers short.
Mm.
Be polite, be friendly. You're not giving your life story here. And one really good tactic the source highlighted is to just turn the question back to them.
Oh, yeah.
So if they ask about your weekend, you could say something like, "It was good, thanks, we went hiking. How about yours?" Or, "It was great, celebrated my mom's birthday. How was your weekend?"
I like that. It shows you're engaged, makes it more of a conversation.
Exactly. And it takes the focus off you for a second, builds rapport.
So if it's not about sharing key info, what is the real point of small talk? Why is it so important, especially maybe for non-native speakers?
The main goal is just to create a more relaxed vibe before the formal questions start. It's about making that human connection, easing the tension. You might not be saying anything profound, but it makes the atmosphere friendlier, more open.
And for someone learning English?
It's a fantastic opportunity. If you handle these simple exchanges confidently, you're immediately showing your practical English skills in a low-stress way. It can ease any worries the interviewer might have about your fluency and build their confidence in your ability to communicate right from the start.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And for anyone listening who feels awkward about small talk or struggles to find the right English words quickly, the source had a great tip. Practice.
Yes, practice those simple, non-personal questions. Do it yourself or grab a friend. Just get comfortable with those brief back and forths. It builds fluidity, makes it less scary.
Like literally say out loud, my weekend was good.
Exactly. Rehearse it. Talk about your commute in English to yourself. Role play, asking about their weekend. The more you do it, the more those phrases just roll off the tongue naturally when you're actually in the interview. It really helps with that overall English conversation practice.
Right. Okay, moving beyond words for a moment. Let's talk body language, demeanor,
Yeah.
your posture, for instance.
Yeah.
Huge impact.
Huge. The advice is clear. Sit upright. Look alert. It shows energy, engagement, professionalism.
What should you avoid?
Definitely avoid slumping back. That looks too casual, maybe even bored. But also, don't sit bolt upright, super stiff. That looks tense, uncomfortable.
So engaged, but kind of relaxed.
That's the sweet spot. Good energy, attentive, but approachable. You want to look open, not closed off.
Makes sense. And our faces, they're talking all the time, even when we're silent. What about facial expressions?
So important. The source really stresses keeping an engaged expression. Look interested, approachable, maybe even happy to be there. Smiling genuinely when it fits and nodding along subtly show you're listening, you're engaged.
Active listening cues.
Exactly. It signals you're positive, interested, and have good interpersonal skills. All good things.
And this is where culture really comes into play, isn't it? The source mentioned that, say, in the U.S., that friendly, engaged look with eye contact is expected. But it might be different elsewhere.
Absolutely crucial point, especially if you're interviewing in a culture different from your own. Knowing these nuances is vital. In America, yes, friendly, direct eye contact is generally seen as confident and honest.
But not everywhere.
Not necessarily. In some cultures, holding direct eye contact for too long, especially with someone senior, might feel disrespectful or aggressive. Whereas in the West, avoiding eye contact can seem shifty.
Wow, okay. So you really need to be aware.
You do. Same with gestures. What's normal and expressive in one place might be distracting or even rude somewhere else. Knowing this stuff lets you adapt, and these nonverbal cues, your energy, your attentiveness, being culturally aware, they create a whole impression that can be just as strong as your words. It can even help smooth over minor language stumbles.
That's really interesting. So it's not just practicing what to say in English, but how to be in that room, culturally speaking. What about eye contact specifically? It's tricky.
It is a fine line. Good eye contact is key looking at the interviewer show's engagement. But you don't want to stare, that's intense.
Creepy.
Right. So aim for a natural gaze. Look at them, maybe briefly shift your gaze to another part of their face or glance at your notes if you have them, then back. Keep it comfortable. And again, know the cultural norm for where you are. Good eye contact really projects confidence and sincerity, even if you pause for a second to find the right English word.
Okay. And hands. What do we do with our hands?
Good question. Generally, keep them relaxed, maybe resting lightly on the table or in your lap. Avoid fidgeting, tapping fingers, playing with a pen that screams nerves.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all do it, but try to be aware. On the flip side, don't clamp them rigidly still either. That looks stiff. A small, natural hand gesture when you're making a point can be good, adds emphasis. But keep it subtle, not like you're conducting an orchestra.
Got it. Natural, relaxed, aware. These little things add up.
They really do. They contribute to that overall feeling of confidence and how well you handle the English conversation.
Okay, First impressions handled. Let's dive into the real meat of it, the interview questions themselves. And we have to start with maybe the most common and honestly sometimes the scariest one. Tell me a little bit about yourself. It sounds so simple.
Deceptively simple, yeah. It's so broad, people just freeze up. Like, where do I even begin? What do they want?
Exactly. So what do they really want?
Well, the source makes it clear. They're looking for a concise, professional summary. Keyword: relevant. Focus on your education, your work history, your main areas of expertise, maybe relevant interests if they connect to the job or company.
So not my childhood llama story.
Probably not, unless the job is llama related. It's about your professional narrative, strategically presented.
Okay. And the source gave some good starting phrases, right, to get you going.
Yeah, really helpful ones. Things like, I studied at university name and graduated in year with a degree in field. Or, I've been working at company name for number years as a job title.
Or even more direct, like, I have number years of experience in industry skill.
Exactly. These immediately frame your answer professionally and guide you towards what the interviewer needs to hear. Sets a good tone for your English response.
And Rachel, in that mock interview, her answer was a great example. How did she structure it?
It was really well done. She started with education. I studied at the University of Florida, master's degree in toy design. Then her job progression. Hired at Happy Kids Creative, been there 5 years, currently director of toy production, super clear.
Covered the basics quickly.
Right. Then she added a bit more context, mentioning sales growth, leading teams, finding new markets. And crucially, she subtly mentioned why she was looking limited growth at her current place, which showed her motivation without being negative.
Smart. And her delivery.
Calm, clear English, projected confidence. Very effective.
Okay, that sounds great. But how do we get there? Especially if English isn't our first language. Practice, obviously, but how?
Practice is absolutely central. The source really emphasizes this. The key technique: record yourself. Use your phone, video if you can. Talk about yourself, your work history. Aim for about a minute.
And then the hard part. Watch it back.
Yes, review it. Be critical. What worked well? What sounded awkward? Did you stumble? Jot down better phrases, maybe more natural sounding English alternatives.
Yeah.
Pay attention to your rhythm, your pacing. Are you too fast? Too slow?
I can see how that would be helpful, albeit slightly painful.
It can be, but it's so valuable. And here's the really crucial insight the source stressed. Don't just write a paragraph and memorize it.
Right, because that sounds robotic.
Totally. And if you forget one word, you can get completely thrown off. The goal is to practice free talking using key points.
Free talking.
Yeah. Internalize the main things: education, experience, key skills. Then practice saying it in different ways without a script. Just talk it through. Describe a project you worked on out loud in English. The more you do this, the more natural you sound. It trains your brain to think in English, not translate. That makes you way more adaptable in the actual interview.
Okay, that makes sense. Build the muscle memory for speaking, not just reciting.
Exactly.
All right, next question. A simpler one, it seems, but still important. Can you tell me how you heard about this position?
Right. Seems straightforward. But it's actually another opportunity for you.
How so?
Well, obviously they want the info, but it lets you show you've done your homework on the company. Or if someone referred you, you can mention that. It shows initiative, real interest. It suggests you're not just firing off applications randomly.
Strategic again. Okay, the source gave examples like...
Simple ones. I heard about it from employee name who works here. Or my friend Liz Miller mentioned it. Or I saw it posted on LinkedIn or on your company website.
Pretty standard. But Rachel's answer in the mock interview did more, didn't it?
Yeah, she used it really well. She said something like, a friend forwarded the LinkedIn listing, so I checked out your website to learn more. And I'd also read an article about your company in Business Weekly that caught my interest.
See? She connected the dots. Showed she went deeper.
Exactly. Proactive. Now, for preparation, since it's simple, just think about your answer and say it out loud a few times. But for non-native speakers, the source had a really specific, practical tip here.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Record yourself saying just that answer. Listen back really carefully. Pinpoint any words that feel tricky to pronounce, where your tongue gets tied up or it just sounds off.
That's a fantastic focused tip for English practice. I definitely have words like that.
We all do, so identify them.
Right.
Then practice just those words, slowly. Think about your mouth shape, your tongue position. Maybe find a native speaker saying the word online and try to mimic them. Shadowing, it's called.
Shadowing, okay.
Say the tricky word 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. Build that physical muscle memory for the sound. It sounds tedious, but it means when you're in the interview, you don't have to struggle with that word. It frees up your brain power to focus on what you're saying, not how you're saying that one tricky syllable.
Yeah.
Boosts fluency and cuts down anxiety.
Great advice. Okay, moving on. A big one. What attracted you to our company? This is where you really show you want this job, right? Not just any job.
Absolutely. This is your chance to prove you've done your research and you're genuinely interested in them. The core idea is to show you have a, quote, strong feeling about something specific you learned. It tells them about your values, what motivates you, and how that lines up with their company.
You need to go beyond the homepage About Us section.
Definitely. Show some depth. So instead of, I need a job, you give specific, compelling reasons. The source suggested examples like, I was really impressed by your commitment to sustainability, or I was excited to see how much you invest in your research department.
Or even culture stuff.
Yeah, like, I appreciate that you encourage team events outside work that suggests a strong collaborative culture, things that show you've looked closer and found something that resonates with you personally or professionally.
And Rachel's answer here was really strong, too.
It was excellent. She said, to be honest, what really caught my eye was your focus on growth. She mentioned their ambitious goals, their clear plan. Then she got specific about their support for employees, the continuing education initiatives.
Connecting it to employee development.
Right.
Yeah.
And she explained why that impressed her because she felt it builds employee satisfaction and loyalty. She used really engaging phrases like, what really caught my eye, which made it sound genuine, not just recited.
That's impressive. It shows research, connection to her own values, and enthusiasm. It felt authentic.
Totally. So preparation again. Research is key. Look at recent news, their mission, what leaders are saying, maybe even their LinkedIn activity. Find specific things, projects, values, achievements that genuinely appeal to you. And practice talking about why. Record yourself, refine it. Even if they don't ask this exact question, this prep work helps you articulate your values and strengthens answers to other questions too. It all builds your ability to express these ideas clearly in English.
Makes sense. Okay, let's hit the one everyone expects. What would you say is your greatest strength? I'm gonna brag a little, but, nicely.
Elegantly brag, exactly. It's your chance to highlight your best qualities, especially those that match the job description. The advice is simple. State the strength, then explain how it helps you at work. Give context, maybe a quick example.
So not just, I'm flexible.
Right. More like, my greatest strength is flexibility. I find this really helps when I'm working with diverse teams because I can adapt my approach to different perspectives and find common ground. That structure, my strength is X, and it's important when I Y, is super useful for framing your answer in English.
That framework is helpful. And Rachel, in the interview, she said
something like, my greatest strength is a combination of enthusiasm and persistence. Which is already interesting, right? A combination.
Yeah, more nuanced.
Then she explained it. Her work ethic won't let me settle. She perseveres through challenges without getting frustrated or angry, and this helps the people around her too. She used strong words like work ethic, persevere. Very impactful.
That's powerful. It shows resilience, positive attitude, leadership potential. How do you prep for this to sound real?
Good question. First, brainstorm several strengths you actually have. Then, for each one, think, how do I show this? How does it help my work or team? Pick one or two that are most relevant to the job you want. And then, key theme here, practice talking about them freely. Don't memorize a script. Try explaining it in different ways. Use different vocabulary. This makes you sound natural, adaptable. It's core to good English conversation, especially when you're nervous. Think of it like having a short story ready about that strength.
Got it. Now, the tricky ones, behavioral questions. Like, tell me about a time you faced a setback and stayed enthusiastic. These are tough because they ask about past actions, not just skills.
Exactly. They want to know how you actually behave in specific, often difficult situations. The idea is that your past actions predict your future ones. They're looking for real examples.
And the source listed other types, right?
Yeah.
Like dealing with difficult people, crises.
Yeah, tons of variations. Difficult client, difficult coworker, responding to a crisis, giving tough feedback, disagreeing with your boss. They can be really specific and unpredictable. Memorizing answers just isn't practical.
So you can't prep for every single possibility. What's the strategy, especially for non-native English speakers?
The standard advice is the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. Describe the situation, what you needed to do, what you actually did, and what happened. For non-native speakers, the key is to keep the story simple, clear, and linear. Use straightforward English.
And Rachel's example for this was apparently amazing.
It was a textbook example. Asked about a setback, she described this project where a competitor launched the exact same toy after they'd worked on theirs for 2 years. Huge blow. Right. But she, as the leader, knew her reaction was critical. She acknowledged the problem, but then reframed it, called it a blessing in disguise. Total mindset shift for the team.
Okay, nice pivot. What do they do?
Smart move. They bought the competitor's toy, listed everything they could improve, added those improvements to their own toy, and launched a better version 6 months later.
Brilliant. Turning it around.
Totally. And she finished by saying something like, "So in many ways, the competitor's product became the key to our success." Just a fantastic narrative arc. Clear English, strong verbs, compelling story.
Wow, that example shows problem solving, leadership, resilience, the whole package.
Exactly. It hit on so many positive traits. Now, for preparation, the source stressed daily practice with different behavioral questions in the days before your interview.
Daily.
Yeah. Not memorizing stories, but building vocabulary around challenges, teamwork, solutions. Getting comfortable telling your own career stories clearly in English. Maybe prepare 3 to 5 core stories from your past that show different skills, leadership, problem solving, etc., and practice telling them using STAR. Focus on clear transitions and strong vocabulary. This helps you handle whatever they throw at you and boosts your English fluency for storytelling.
Okay, good plan. Now, the one everyone dreads. What would you consider your greatest weakness? Feels like a total trap. How honest should you be?
It does feel like a trap, but you need to see it as an opportunity. The advice is be honest but strategic. Don't reveal a fatal flaw that disqualifies you. Pick a real, genuine weakness, but then immediately talk about the specific things you've done or are doing to improve it.
So it's about self-awareness and growth mindset.
Exactly. It shows maturity, willingness to learn. That framework is helpful. My weakness is X. It sometimes affects my work when Y, but I'm working on it by doing Z. Turns a negative into a positive story about development.
What are some safe-ish examples?
Things like public speaking, maybe being too detail-oriented sometimes, which can slow things down. Maybe impatience, or even fear of failure, as long as you immediately follow up with how you manage it or push through it.
And Rachel's answer. I heard it was memorable.
It was great. She started with a quick joke. Chocolate. Just kidding.
Huh. Okay, breaks the ice.
Totally. Then she got serious. No, my biggest weakness is public speaking. She explained she's fine in small groups, but gets stage fright with big audiences. But the crucial part was her action plan. She said she's actively working on it, has improved, and wants to get to the point where she can actually enjoy presenting, not just survive it.
That's excellent. The humor, then a real weakness, and a clear ongoing effort to fix it. Very human, very determined.
Precisely. Shows self-awareness, proactive effort. So for prep, think of a genuine struggle, something real. Then critically identify concrete steps you've taken. Read books. Took a course. Joined Toastmasters. Volunteered for low-stakes presentations. Have those specific examples ready. The key is showing you know yourself and you're actively improving. And yeah, as Rachel showed, one quick, appropriate joke can sometimes work to show personality, but don't overdo it.
Right, keep it professional. Okay, last big question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? The future goals question.
Yep. This lets you share your ambitions, but also show you understand realistic career paths. They want to see you have a plan, that it kind of aligns with opportunities they might offer. It's about ambition, but also realism. And they might ask about 1 year or 10 years too.
So think about different time frames. A good start is maybe, in 5 years, I'd like to be.
Yeah, that's a clear starting point. Fill in the blank with something relevant and maybe ambitious, but achievable.
How did Rachel handle this one?
She connected it back beautifully to her earlier points about wanting growth. She said she wanted to be part of a company that's growing consistently. Then she mentioned aspiring to a VP position focused on development.
Okay, specific goal.
But here's the brilliant part. She linked it directly to her weakness. And while I know that would require much more public speaking, in 5 years, I plan on being ready for it.
Wow, that's tying it all together. Turning the weakness into part of her future plan.
Incredible, right? Shows foresight, determination, self-awareness. She's not just ambitious. She knows what she needs to do to get there and is already working on it.
That's seriously impressive. How do you prep for this to sound convincing in English?
Key advice from the source. Practice your answer out loud. Seriously, don't just think it in your head. If you only practice silently, It's way more awkward when you actually have to say it in the interview.
Good point. Get the words out.
Record yourself. Listen back. Is it clear? Does it sound natural? Can you make it more concise? Are you using the right future tenses in English? Actively critique and refine. And maybe do a little research on typical career paths in that field or company to make sure your goal sounds grounded.
Okay, phew. We got through the main grilling section where you're answering their questions, but then comes that moment. The interviewer leans back and says, "So do you have any questions for me?" This is a huge shift, right? It's your turn, and a lot of people don't make the most of it.
It's a massive moment, yeah. Up till now, it's been about you fitting their needs. Now, the tables turn. It's your chance to figure out if this company, this role, this team is actually a good fit for you.
It's a two-way street.
Absolutely. And beyond that, the questions you ask show them how prepared you are, how interested you really are, how critically you think. It reinforces everything good you've shown so far.
So rule number one is never say, "Nope, I'm good."
Oh, please don't. That just signals you're not that interested, or you didn't prepare, or you're just passive. Terrible signal. The strategy is prepare questions beforehand. Write them down. Think about the job, the culture, the team. Practice asking them clearly in English.
You probably won't ask all of them.
Right, some might get answered during the interview anyway, but have a few thoughtful ones ready. It shows initiative and engagement.
And the source gave us Rachel's first question, which was apparently a killer.
It was brilliant. She asked, imagine you're looking back on this hiring decision in a year. The person you hired has exceeded your expectations. What did he or she do that impressed you the most?
Wow. That's not your standard "what's the culture like" question.
Not at all. It's fantastic because it gets past the job description fluff. It asks about real success, their priorities, what going above and beyond actually means to them. It gives you such valuable insight. And for a non-native speaker, asking a sophisticated question like that shows serious strategic thinking and English proficiency.
Totally. And the interviewer's answer was really revealing too, wasn't it?
Yeah, he talked about the person learning from the team first, then making informed changes. He wanted the team to become a well-oiled machine, bouncing ideas off each other, making headway into new markets, super concrete stuff.
That tells Rachel exactly what success looks like in his eyes.
Yeah.
So valuable. And her follow-up.
Also smart and practical. Can you tell me a little bit more about the team that I would be working with? Shows she's thinking about collaboration, fitting in, the day-to-day reality.
And then the interviewer got surprisingly honest.
Incredibly candid. He said the team's experience knows the ropes, but they're currently frustrated by lack of growth. And then the big one. This would be the third team leader in just 4 years.
Yikes. Red flag.
Potentially. But Rachel handled it well. She asked, do you know what's causing that kind of rapid turnover? And he explained they'd hired from within before and maybe needed someone with fresh, outside-the-box thinking. He basically laid out the challenge and the hope for new energy.
Okay, so it was honest, but also framed the opportunity. How did Rachel react?
Perfectly. She didn't seem fazed. She said something like, that makes sense. I really appreciate that you're considering me. I'd love to be a part of the company achieving its goals. She acknowledged the challenge, didn't run screaming, and immediately reaffirmed her commitment to helping them succeed.
That's really strong. Shows maturity, resilience. She's solution-focused, not scared off by the tough stuff.
Exactly. It was a fantastic way to handle potentially negative info and turn it into another positive for her candidacy. Masterful, really, especially handling that nuance in English.
So for listeners, besides Rachel's great examples, what other kinds of questions should they prepare?
Good idea to have a few categories ready. Maybe questions about, 1, the role itself, what's a typical day like, or what are the biggest challenges in the first few months?
Okay.
2, the team and culture. How does the team usually collaborate, or how would you describe the communication style? 3, company direction. What are the main goals for the next year, and how does this role fit in? 4, growth. Are there opportunities for training or professional development? Or how do you support employees' career goals?
Right.
And maybe 5, the process. What are the next steps? Or what's the timeline? Having a mix shows you're thinking broadly and helps you decide if it's right for you.
Okay, so we've navigated the whole interview arc. From that first handshake, through all the questions, answering theirs, asking yours, and now we're at the end. The source reminds us, It often finishes like it started. Another handshake, maybe a bit more small talk on the way out.
Yep, gotta maintain that positive, professional vibe right to the very end. Leave them with a good final impression that matches the rest of the interview. Consistency is key.
And that overall goal the source talked about, feeling more comfortable and confident at the end than you did at the beginning, that really comes from all the prep work, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That feeling is the direct result of practice. Recording yourself, the free talking, working on pronunciation, strategically prepping answers, all that builds the muscle memory. It lowers the stress during the actual interview because your brain isn't scrambling for words.
Right. It frees you up to just communicate.
Exactly. It turns something potentially terrifying into just a conversation, albeit an important one. It really helps your English flow more naturally when you're not fighting anxiety as much.
And let's quickly touch on humor again.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel's chocolate joke worked, but the advice is generally to use it sparingly, right?
Definitely sparingly. One or two brief, genuinely appropriate moments can show personality and break tension. But it's risky, especially across cultures. Too much humor or a joke that lands badly can totally derail things. When in doubt, probably best to play it safe and stay professional.
Good advice. And finally, just a quick revisit to that cultural awareness point. Super important.
Can't stress it enough. Interview styles vary hugely. What's seen as confident and direct in the US might be perceived differently in parts of Asia or Europe. Eye contact norms, personal space, how directly you speak. It all differs. Researching the specific cultural context of where you're interviewing is vital. It's not just about speaking English, it's about communicating effectively within that cultural framework.
Yeah, it adds another layer to the preparation.
Yeah.
So thinking about the language itself, what are some common English pitfalls non-native speakers might run into during an interview? Any specific grammar hurdles?
Good question. Yeah, a few common ones. Articles a and be. Getting those right makes a big difference in sounding natural. Practice helps.
Mm-hmm.
Prepositions in on, at, for, especially in work contexts like responsible for, report to.
Yeah.
Easy to mix up.
Yeah, those are tricky.
Tense consistency, especially telling stories about past experiences using the STRA method, making sure you stay consistently in the past tense, then shift clearly if you talk about present impact or future goals.
Right.
Word choice or collocations. Using a technically correct word, but not the one native speakers would naturally use together. Like saying, make research instead of do research or conduct research. Listening to native speakers helps internalize these natural pairings.
And trying not to translate directly from your own language.
Huge one. Direct translation often sounds awkward or unnatural in English. That free talking practice really helps train your brain to formulate thoughts directly in English. Focusing on these specific areas in your practice can make a big difference to fluency.
That's really practical advice. And just quickly, any tips for managing the anxiety itself? Because it is nerve-wracking, especially in another language.
Absolutely. Nerves are normal. Simple things help. Deep breathing before you go in seriously. Take a few slow, deep breaths. It calms the nervous system. Visualization can work to mentally walk through a successful interview.
Like a mental rehearsal.
Exactly. Some people even swear by power posing for a minute beforehand, standing tall, open posture. Might sound silly, but some research suggests it can lower stress hormones. Point is, acknowledge the nerves, but use simple techniques to manage them so your skills can shine.
Okay, an interview's done. You walk out. What's the very last step?
Send a thank you note. Email is fine, usually within 24 hours. Keep it brief, professional. Say thanks for their time. Reiterate your interest. And pro tip, mention something specific you discussed. I enjoyed learning about X, or our conversation about Y was particularly interesting. Shows you are paying attention.
Nice touch. Then try not to obsess while you wait.
Easier said than done, but yeah. Keep your job search moving. Be ready for potential follow-ups.
Wow, okay. That was a seriously deep dive into conquering the job interview, especially for all of you navigating it in English. We've really covered the map, haven't we? From those first impressions, the handshake, small talk, body language, all the way through, dissecting common questions, crafting strong answers, asking your own smart questions.
And handling those curveballs, like the interviewer's honest feedback.
Exactly. And the constant theme, the thread running through it all, has been practice. Smart, focused practice to build that comfort, confidence, and fluency in English specifically for this high-stakes situation.
Yeah, it's clear that preparation isn't just about knowing what to say. It's about building that linguistic agility, that muscle memory, so you can deliver it naturally, even under pressure, letting your actual skills come through without language being a barrier.
So as we wrap up, here's a little something to think about, a provocative thought to take away.
Yeah.
How could you use these same intentional practice techniques we talked about for interviews?
Hmm.
Like, recording yourself, free talking, instead of memorizing, working on specific pronunciations, weaving your skills into a story. How could you apply those to other parts of your life?
Interesting question.
Like any situation where you need to present yourself well, persuade someone, or just communicate clearly under pressure. What could you learn about your own communication style if you brought that same kind of analytical practice to, say, everyday conversations or team meetings?
That's definitely food for thought. Taking these principles of effective communication, especially in a second language, and seeing how they apply more broadly.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope this gives you the tools and confidence to absolutely ace your next important conversation, whatever it might be.
Good luck out there.
We'll catch you next time.
Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're plunging headfirst into a topic that, let's be honest, makes most of us break into a cold sweat just thinking about it. The job interview.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a high-stress situation for almost everyone.
And not just any job interview. We're specifically looking at mastering it when English isn't your native language.
Right, which adds a whole other layer of complexity.
We know the stress and anxiety around these things can be absolutely immense, right? And when you add that layer of navigating it all in a non-native language, well, it becomes a whole new ballgame.
It really does. You've
Yeah.
got that feeling of wanting to articulate perfectly, but maybe the words just won't come quite right, or you're worrying about cultural missteps. It's a unique kind of pressure.
Absolutely. So our mission today.
Well, our mission is really to give you that invaluable shortcut. We want to help you become incredibly well-informed and, crucially, genuinely prepared for your next interview. We're going to equip you with, powerful, actionable strategies.
Yeah.
We'll dissect some really common
And
questions.
the ones you always seem to get.
Exactly. And we'll hand you practical English phrases that won't just help you ace that interview, but will also significantly boost your comfort and confidence throughout the whole process.
That confidence part is huge.
It is. And we've extracted some truly fantastic insights from a source that meticulously breaks down real interview scenarios. It offers just a wealth of practical advice that you can apply immediately.
So how are we going to achieve this? How are we structuring this deep dive?
So we're taking you on a kind of guided journey. We'll follow a mock interview,
Okay.
dissecting every crucial moment, like from the very first handshake all the way to the concluding farewell.
Covering the whole.
Our whole arc. And it's not just about what to say, though, obviously, that's a huge part of it.
Right.
But critically, it's also about how you present yourself.
Ah, the nonverbals.
Exactly. All those vital nonverbal cues, and also the preparation techniques that help build genuine muscle memory. It's about getting to a point where your responses feel natural, confident, and, authentically you.
We want you feeling ready, prepared, and like you've truly got this by the end.
That's the goal.
All right, let's dive in. Okay, so those first few seconds, maybe the first minute, incredibly important, right? Where do we start?
Well, often it starts even before words are exchanged. Think about the handshake.
The handshake seems simple, but I guess it's not.
It's your silent greeting, your nonverbal first impression,
Yeah.
and the source really emphasizes its significance.
So what makes a good handshake, according to the source?
It recommends a firm handshake. Not too tight, definitely not aggressive like you're trying to crush their hand.
The power grip, avoid that.
Avoid that. But also not too limp or hesitant, just firm and confident.
Yes.
And it also mentions that modern etiquette, suggests men and women alike use the same handshake style. Just extend your right hand forward, web-to-web contact, couple of pumps, release.
Simple enough, but why does it matter so much? Is it really that big a deal?
Well, think about it. It sets a positive professional tone immediately, like right from the get-go. It contributes massively to that crucial first impression before you've even really started talking much.
Okay, so handshake. Firm, confident, standard. Got it. What happens next, typically?
Usually right after the handshake, there's a bit of small talk. It's a common opening for most interviews.
Ah, the dreaded small talk. Does it actually serve a purpose, or is it just filler?
Oh, it definitely serves a purpose. It's about breaking the ice, not just chit-chat.
Okay.
The source lists some common topics. Things like, how are you doing today? Did you have any trouble finding us? Maybe something about the weather, or how was your weekend? Very standard stuff.
Right, safe topics.
Exactly. And the strategy here, keep your answers relatively short.
Don't overshare.
Definitely don't overshare. Be polite. Be friendly. And here's a specific tactic the source mentions. Feel free to turn the question back to the interviewer.
Oh, okay. Like how?
So if they ask, how was your weekend? Yeah, you could say, it was great, thanks. We celebrated my mom's birthday. How was yours?
Ah, keeps the conversation flowing and shows engagement.
Precisely. It shows you're interested in interaction, not just answering questions.
So the real purpose of small talk isn't about conveying vital information.
Not at all. It's about building a more comfortable, relaxed environment before the really formal part of the interview begins. It's about establishing rapport. And honestly, it can significantly reduce that initial tension for both sides.
That makes sense. It warms things up.
It does. And there's a great practical tip in the source for this. It's very helpful if English isn't your first language. Practice these simple, non-personal questions and answers.
Practice small talk.
Yeah, practice it on your own or maybe with a friend.
Yeah.
Just get comfortable with those brief interactions, those little back and forths. It builds fluidity and makes it feel less awkward in the moment.
Okay, handshake, small talk. What else contributes to that critical first impression?
Your body language and general demeanor. You're speaking volumes without saying a word.
Right, like posture.
Posture is huge.
Yeah.
The advice is to sit upright and look alert. You want to convey good energy, show that you're engaged.
What should you avoid?
Definitely avoid slumping back in the chair or slouching. That just looks way too casual, maybe even disinterested.
Okay.
But you also don't want to be sitting ramrod straight, like super stiff and nervous. Find that balance alert but relaxed.
Engaged. What about facial expressions?
Also incredibly powerful. Maintain an engaged face. Look, excited and happy to be there within reason, of course.
Don't need a permanent grin plastered on your face.
No, definitely not. But smiling naturally, nodding when they speak, these are really effective ways to show you're engaged, you're actively listening, and you have positive energy.
That makes sense.
And there's an interesting cultural note here the source brings up.
Oh.
Yeah, it mentions that in America, this kind of friendly, engaged, maybe slightly more expressive demeanor is generally seen as positive in an interview setting.
Okay.
But in some other cultures, a more reserved or formal approach might be the norm, or even preferred.
Ah, that's a really crucial point for our listeners, especially if they're interviewing in a different cultural context than they're used to.
Absolutely. Being aware of those potential differences is key. You need to calibrate slightly based on where you are and who you're talking to.
So tying it all together, the handshake, the small talk, the posture, the facial expressions.
It all combines to create this overall impression, right? It projects energy, attentiveness, a positive outlook. And honestly, these nonverbal cues can be just as impactful, sometimes even more so than the actual words you say in those first few minutes.
Sets the stage for everything that follows.
Exactly. All right, so we've navigated those crucial first moments. Now let's pivot to the real heart of any interview. The questions they're likely going to throw at you.
Okay, brace ourselves.
And what often kicks things off, a question that can truly feel like staring to the abyss for a lot of people.
Let me guess. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Bingo. Sounds so simple, so conversational, but it's so open-ended, it can really throw you off balance if you're not prepared.
You're right, it sounds easy, but it's incredibly daunting. Like, what do they really want to hear? Are they asking about my hobbies, my dog, my entire life story condensed into 60 seconds? It's confusing.
It is confusing, but what's fascinating here and what the source makes clear is that despite its broadness, interviewers are not looking for your life story.
Okay, good. Phew.
What they really want is a concise, relevant, professional narrative. They want you to focus on your education, your work history, the specific areas where you have expertise.
Stuff that relates to the job.
Exactly. And maybe any relevant interests that clearly tie into the position or the company culture. Think of it as your professional highlight reel, but specifically tailored for this specific role.
So you're basically answering, why am I sitting here applying for this job, and why am I a good fit based on my past?
Precisely. Is your elevator pitch, but focused on your career trajectory and relevant skills.
Our source actually gives some fantastic starting phrases to help tackle this, which can act as sort of mental anchors, right?
Yeah, they're really useful. They help you frame your answer immediately in a professional context.
Like, you could begin with your education. I studied at Harvard University and graduated in 2012 with a degree in business.
Or jump right into your recent experience. I've been working at Smith Incorporated for 10 years as a manager.
Or if you have deep experience in a field, I have 12 years of experience in graphic design.
Or maybe highlight a specific relevant skill gained elsewhere. Because of my time at Verizon, I have a lot of experience in providing customer service, particularly in challenging situations.
These really help set the stage.
They do. And we get a superb illustration of how to put this all together with Rachel's specific answer in the mock interview. She structured her response just beautifully.
How did she do it?
Well, she started with her academic foundation. Graduated in 2010, master's in toy design from the University of Florida. Clear, concise.
Okay.
Then she transitioned seamlessly into her professional journey. Talked about her 5 years at Happy Kids Creative, but she didn't just say she worked there. She emphasized how she grew into the role of director of toy production.
Shows progression.
Exactly. And she highlighted a key achievement. This is crucial. She said, sales grew steadily under my leadership by an average of 15% year over year.
Quantifiable results.
It's a huge difference. Then she gracefully transitioned to her reason for seeking new opportunities. She didn't badmouth her old company. She simply stated she's run out of room to grow with HKC, which signals ambition for further development.
Smart way to phrase it.
Very smart. And finally, she emphasized her relevant skills for this new role, like leading teams in the creative process and finding new markets for products.
So she tied it all together.
Perfectly. What Rachel did so well was weave this clear narrative: progression, achievement, ambition, and forward thinking. And she constantly aligned her past experiences with her future aspirations and implicitly the needs of the company she's interviewing with. She knew this was her chance to connect her successes to their future vision.
Okay, that's a great example. But getting there, that takes practice. Which brings us to a crucial preparation strategy our source keeps emphasizing.
Oh, absolutely. You absolutely must practice talking about yourself and your work history out loud, not just thinking about it.
Out loud, why is that so important?
Because thinking it and saying it are two different things, especially under pressure and in a non-native language. The source strongly advises recording yourself.
Like audio recording.
Audio is good, but video is even better if you can manage it. Lets you check your body language too.
Okay. And what do you do with the recording?
Keep your answer concise. First off, aim for around a minute. Not too long, not too short. Then go back and critically listen or watch.
What are you looking for?
What phrases worked well? Maybe jot them down so you remember to use them again.
Yeah.
Did you stumble over anything? Did you use too many filler words like or Did you feel like you left something important out?
Okay.
Make a note of alternative phrases you could use or details you might want to include next time. Then, and this is key, repeat the exercise the next day and maybe the day after that. It's about iterative refinement, making small improvements each time.
Getting smoother.
Exactly. But here's the crucial insight, and this is so important for fluency and sounding natural.
Yeah.
It is not about writing out a paragraph and then memorizing it word for word.
Why not? Seems like the safest approach.
Because it almost always sounds stiff, unnatural, like you're reciting something from memory. Which you are.
Right.
Yeah.
You can usually tell.
You can. Instead, the goal is to practice free talking, using those key phrases and ideas as anchors. You're building a mental bank of vocabulary and concepts related to your experience.
So you know the main points, but you construct the sentences on the fly.
Precisely. The more you practice constructing those sentences spontaneously, the more comfortable and natural you'll sound during the actual interview. It's not just about sounding polished, it's training your brain to think in English in real time about your own story.
That makes a lot of sense. It reduces the mental load of translating.
Exactly. It frees up your cognitive space to focus on the content and the nuance of your message, and to react genuinely to the interviewer rather than just trying to recall memorized lines. That cognitive flexibility is an absolute game changer when you're under pressure. It allows for more authentic and spontaneous communication.
Okay, great advice for tell me about yourself. What's another common one we should tackle?
Moving on, there's a question that often feels like just a simple logistical inquiry. Can you tell me how you heard about this position?
Right, seems pretty straightforward. Like, I saw it online. End of story.
Well, you could answer it that simply, but it's actually a subtle opportunity to make another positive impression.
How so?
Because it allows you to showcase any research you've done, or importantly, to highlight if you were referred by someone inside the company.
Ah, the internal referral. That can be gold.
It can definitely be a significant advantage. So this question is a chance to subtly demonstrate your proactivity or maybe leverage your professional network.
So what are some good ways to answer? Our source gave examples, right?
Yeah, it offered varied examples depending on the situation. You could say, I learned about this position from one of your current employees, Bob Green, which immediately flags that connection.
Or maybe a bit more general if you don't know them well.
Sure. My friend Liz Miller, who works in accounting, forwarded me the listing. Still shows a connection.
And if it wasn't a referral?
Keep it simple and direct. I saw this position advertised on LinkedIn, or I read about the position on your company website. Totally fine answers.
What did Rachel do in the mock interview?
Rachel actually combined a few approaches, which was quite smart.
Oh.
She mentioned that a friend had forwarded her the LinkedIn listing, but then she added that this prompted her to spend time researching on the company website, learning more about both the position and the company culture.
Shows initiative beyond just seeing the ad.
Exactly. And then she layered on another piece. She said she also read an article in Business Weekly about your work that really got me interested.
Okay, that's thorough.
It really is.
Right.
This multi-pronged answer shows deep engagement. It implies genuine interest and diligence, not just a casual click and apply. It suggests she's really invested in understanding the company fully before even walking in the door.
So, for preparing for this question, since the answer is usually pretty factual,
Yeah.
what's the key?
Well, because it's typically a relatively simple and factual answer, the preparation strategy is straightforward but still vital, especially for non-native speakers. Think about your answer beforehand, obviously, but then practice saying it out loud.
Again with the speaking aloud.
Yes. And this is where it ties directly into that English conversation practice we're focusing on. When you record yourself and listen back, maybe just for this specific sentence, specifically identify any words that challenge you.
Like the company name. Or maybe the name of the person who referred you.
Exactly. Or maybe a platform name like LinkedIn, if that's tricky. Practice those challenging words separately. Say them slowly at first, really focusing consciously on your mouth position.
Like exaggerating the sounds.
Kind of, yeah. Feel how your tongue and lips move. For example, if you struggle with the sound, consciously place your tongue between your teeth. Feel the air move. If it's intonation, remember in English, rising pitch often signals a question or uncertainty, while a falling pitch usually conveys confidence or a completed thought.
Okay.
As a word becomes more comfortable, you can gradually speed it up. The advice from the source is pretty intense but effective. Practice tough words 10, 20, even 30 times in a row.
Wow, 30 times.
It sounds like a lot, but it builds true muscle memory. It makes the pronunciation naturally easier and less of a cognitive load during the interview itself. Your message comes through clearly without you stumbling over a key name or term.
That focus on muscle memory, whether it's for pronunciation or for free-talking complex answers, seems like a really consistent thing here.
It's absolutely key across the board for building fluency and confidence.
Okay, next up, another big one. What attracted you to our company?
Ah, yes. This is your golden opportunity. This is where you really demonstrate that you've done your homework, that you understand the company, and crucially, that you convey genuine, enthusiastic interest in working there specifically.
So it's not just about listing facts you found online.
Definitely not. It's about showing why that knowledge sparks a real connection for you. The key advice here is to show that you have a strong feeling. That's the phrase the source uses, a strong feeling about what you learned during your research.
A strong feeling, like passion.
Yeah, or alignment. Connect what you learn to your own values or your professional goals. This gives the interviewer valuable insight into what motivates you, what you care about, and what you would bring to the position beyond just the skills on your resume.
Okay. Does the source give examples of how to phrase this?
It does, and they're good starting points that show that alignment. For instance, I was really impressed with your commitment to renewable energy, which aligns perfectly with my own passion for sustainable development. See the connection.
Yeah, personal value alignment.
Or maybe focus on the work environment. I was very excited to learn that you support your research department so strongly. That really speaks to a culture of innovation, and that's an environment I thrive in.
Tapping into company culture.
Right. Or even the social aspects. I read that you encourage employees to spend time with each other outside the workplace, and that is something I really appreciate, as I value a collaborative and supportive team environment.
These examples show you've gone beyond just the About Us page.
Exactly. They show you found specific aspects of the company that genuinely resonate with you, either personally or professionally.
And Rachel's answer to this one, you said it was particularly strong.
It was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
It showed a depth of research that goes way beyond the typical. She started strongly. To be honest, what really caught my eye was your focus on growth, direct and impactful.
Okay.
She then explicitly mentioned being impressed with your ambitious goals and the clear plan you have for achieving those goals. This shows she's likely read strategic documents, recent news articles, something substantial.
Show she digs deeper.
Mm-hmm. And then she highlighted something specific about how the company supports its employees. She said she loved their continuing education initiatives, where you pay for employees to learn new techniques and skill sets.
That's a great specific detail. Shows attention and aligns with personal development.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And she didn't just state the fact. She connected it back to why it matters to her and why it benefits the company. I think that really helps to build employee satisfaction and loyalty, which are qualities I deeply value in a workplace.
Wow, so she links company practice, employee benefit, and her own values. Very persuasive.
Incredibly persuasive.
Yeah.
Her response demonstrates not just deep research, but a clear alignment of her own aspirations with the company's stated ethos and practices. It shows she's thinking long-term about her fit and how she can contribute to that positive environment.
And this loops back again to preparation, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It just reiterates the immense importance of that pre-interview prep, doing the research, thinking about the connections, and then practicing how you'll articulate it using recordings and repetition.
And you mentioned even if they don't ask this exact question.
Right. Even if what attracted you to our company isn't asked directly, the time you spend preparing for it will significantly strengthen your answers to related questions. Things like, why do you want this role? Or what do you know about us? Or even, why should we hire you?
Because you've already thought deeply about the company and your fit.
Exactly. Understanding the company's values, their mission, recent achievements, even their challenges, having that deep knowledge will inform all your responses and make you sound genuinely interested, knowledgeable, and prepared throughout the entire interview. It's not just about prepping for one question. It's about building a comprehensive understanding that elevates your entire performance.
Okay, let's talk about another interview staple, maybe the flip side of attraction. What would you say is your greatest strength?
The strength question. This is a fantastic opportunity to shine, right? To highlight your best professional and maybe personal qualities that are relevant.
But as we've discussed with other questions, it's not just about naming a strength, is it? Like saying, I'm a hard worker.
No, definitely not. That's too generic. The core advice, again, is context and impact. State your strengths clearly, yes, but then crucially, explain how it helps you. How does it manifest in your work or in your life? It's the so what factor. Why should the interviewer care about this strength?
Okay, our source provided a framework for this too, I remember.
It did, a very clear and effective one. My greatest strength is bay. I find that this is very important when I speak. Simple structure, but powerful.
Can you give an example using that?
Sure. Let's say your strength is flexibility. You might say, my greatest strength is flexibility. I find that this is very important when I'm working with lots of different people and opinions, especially on complex projects, and I need to adapt quickly to changing requirements or unexpected feedback.
Okay, that gives context and makes it tangible, relevant to a work setting.
Exactly. Or you could highlight problem solving. My greatest strength is my ability to quickly analyze complex problems and propose innovative solutions. This is critical when facing unexpected technical challenges or roadblocks in a project timeline.
Or maybe something like taking initiative.
Perfect example. My greatest strength is my proactive approach to identifying needs and taking initiative before being asked. I find this invaluable when anticipating potential bottlenecks in a process and addressing them before they impact the team's goals. It shows foresight and ownership.
And Rachel's answer in the mock interview, how does she handle this one?
Hers was really good because she combined qualities and showed the positive impact not just on her work, but on others too.
What did she say?
She identified her strength as a combination of enthusiasm and persistence.
Okay, interesting combination.
Yeah, and then she elaborated on how this helps her, making it concrete. My work ethic won't let me settle for less than my best. I'm able to persevere through challenges and setbacks without falling into frustration or anger. Shows resilience and commitment.
That's powerful.
And then she added this great bonus, showing self-awareness and a team-oriented mindset. I've noticed that this tends to keep those around me in good spirits as well, which is definitely a plus, especially when we're facing tight deadlines or unexpected issues.
Wow, so her strength benefits the whole team's morale and productivity. That's a great angle.
It really is. It elevates the strength beyond just a personal quality to something that contributes positively to the work environment.
So, for preparing this answer, what's the recommendation?
The source suggests a thoughtful exercise. First, brainstorm and write down several strengths that you genuinely possess and feel confident about.
Okay.
Then, for each strength, think about specific Instances or scenarios, concrete examples where you actually demonstrated that strength in your life or work. Jot those down too.
So you have evidence to back it up.
Precisely. You might come up with quite a few strong points you'd like to highlight, which is great. Then practice speaking freely about these ideals. Use different phrasing each time you practice, rather than rigidly memorizing a script.
Back to the free talking idea.
Always back to that for natural delivery. The goal isn't word-perfect recitation, but articulate and authentic communication. Then, for the actual interview, strategically select just one or two of your strongest, most relevant strengths, the ones that directly align with the specific job description or the company culture you've researched.
Tailor it to the situation.
Absolutely. The goal is to sound natural, confident, not rehearsed, and most importantly, to connect your strength directly to the value you would bring to that specific role.
Makes perfect sense. Now, here's a type of question that can sometimes catch people off guard. It's not just asking about a trait, but about an actual experience.
You mean the behavioral questions?
Exactly. Like, can you tell me about a time where you suffered a setback and had to maintain your enthusiasm? These seem designed to put you on the spot.
They are, in a way. Behavioral questions are specifically designed to assess how you actually perform in stressful or challenging situations. They operate on the principle that past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior.
So they want real examples.
Real examples, or sometimes they'll pose hypothetical scenarios. They're looking for concrete evidence of your skills in action. Things like resilience, problem solving, conflict resolution, leadership, teamwork, depending on the question.
And these questions can be really varied, right?
Incredibly varied and often quite unpredictable, which is exactly why the practice we've been discussing is so vital. Our source lists several other common examples.
Like what?
Things like, tell me about a time when you had to deal with a difficult client or coworker and how you resolved the situation. Or describe a time when you had to respond to an unexpected crisis or a really urgent deadline.
Okay, crisis management.
Or maybe tell me about a time when you had to give difficult feedback to a colleague or direct report. Or even, how would you handle a situation where you and your supervisor strongly disagreed about an important issue or the best course of action?
Wow. Yeah, those require some thought. They cover a lot of ground.
They really do. The key is they want to understand your approach. How do you think through problems? How resilient are you? How do you handle conflict? How do you learn from tough situations? They're trying to get a glimpse of you in action.
Rachel's example for the setback question, you said it was a masterclass. How did she structure that?
It was textbook perfect, really.
Yeah.
She effectively used the STAR method, which is a great framework for these answers.
STAR. What's that stand for?
Situation, task, action, result. It helps you structure your story logically.
Okay, so how did Rachel apply STAR?
Okay, situation. She recalled a project for a new toy. They were in the final stages after 2 years of meticulous work, huge investment of time and effort. Then suddenly, bam, a competitor launched a version of the exact same toy that we were launching.
Ouch. Devastating setback. That's the situation.
Exactly. Then, task. As the leader, her task was clear, so figure out how to respond to this crisis and salvage the project while also keeping her team motivated.
High stakes.
Very. Next, action. This is where she showed her leadership in strategic thinking. First, she acknowledged that it was a setback, validating her team's feelings. But then she immediately challenged the group to think of this as a blessing in disguise, a chance to make our product even better.
Turning a negative into a potential positive.
Right. Then, her specific action strategy was brilliant. She immediately shifted focus. She asked the team to go out, buy the competitor's product,
Okay.
and make a detailed list of anything they wished the toy could do that it didn't. What was missing? What could be improved?
Smart. Using the competitor's launch as market research.
Exactly. And the list turned out to be surprisingly long, giving them a clear roadmap for improvement. So they took those insights, added those desired features and improvements to their own toy, essentially leapfrogging the competitor based on their own product's shortcomings.
Brilliant. And result.
Result. They launched their refined, far superior product 6 months later. And she concluded beautifully. So in many ways, the competitor's product actually became the key to our success, pushing us to innovate beyond our original scope.
Wow. That's a fantastic story. Clear problem, decisive action, positive, transformative outcome.
It perfectly demonstrates leadership, strategic thinking, resilience, and the ability to turn adversity into a genuine advantage. That's what interviewers love to hear in response to behavioral questions.
So preparing for these, Given their variety, how do you even start? Memorize a bunch of stories.
Not exactly memorization again, but preparation is absolutely crucial because of their sheer variety and unpredictability. Our source strongly advises practicing responding to several different versions of these questions.
Different versions.
Yeah, like practice telling a story about a conflict one day, a setback the next, a time you failed, a time you succeeded under pressure. Do this every day in the days leading up to your interview.
Why practice so many different ones?
Because it's not about having one perfect answer for one specific question they might ask. It's about building crucial vocabulary around challenge, success, failure, teamwork, leadership. It's about developing that flexible narrative framework like STAR that you can adapt. And it's about training your mind to quickly recall relevant experiences from your past.
So it builds mental agility.
Exactly. It helps you feel ready to tackle whatever specific scenario they throw at you, even if it's not one you practiced verbatim. You'll have the mental agility and the linguistic tools ready to construct a coherent, compelling story on the spot.
Okay, that makes sense. Build the toolkit, not just the specific tool.
Precisely.
All right, let's move from strengths and setbacks to perhaps the most dreaded question for many people. It often feels like a trap.
You must mean. What would you consider your greatest weakness?
That's the one. It's tough, right? Honesty is key, they say, but you definitely don't want to list a weakness that knocks you out of the running. You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance. The core advice here is really twofold. First, show genuine self-awareness. Acknowledge that nobody's perfect. But second, and even more importantly, demonstrate a proactive willingness to improve.
So it's not just about stating the weakness.
No, that's only half the battle, maybe even less. You state a weakness, then, critically, you discuss the specific, tangible steps you have taken, or are currently taking, to work on it. Show growth.
The source had a framework for this too, didn't it?
It did, and it's excellent for structuring this potentially tricky answer. My greatest weakness is C. It sometimes shows up in my work when the ways I've worked to improve in this area are as deep.
Okay, that covers acknowledgement, impact, and action.
Exactly. It allows you to acknowledge a flaw while immediately pivoting to your growth mindset and your commitment to ongoing personal and professional development. That's what interviewers want to see, not perfection, but awareness and effort.
What are some common examples of weaknesses that can be framed effectively this way?
Well, things like public speaking, which we saw with Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe attention to detail if it's not a core requirement for the job. Perhaps a fear of failure, or maybe a tendency to take on too much responsibility and needing to learn to delegate better.
So the key is choosing a genuine weakness.
Yes, genuine. Don't make one up or pick something trivial.
But one that isn't absolutely central to the job's core requirements, and crucially, one that you are actively addressing.
That's the trifecta. Genuine, not disqualifying, and actively being worked on.
Rachel's answer handled this with grace, you mentioned, and some humor.
Yeah, it was a classic example of doing it well. She started with just a touch of humor, which, when used very sparingly and appropriately, can be effective in building rapport. She said, chocolate. Just kidding.
Okay. Breaks the tension.
Exactly. A brief, well-placed moment that humanizes her. But then she immediately got serious. No, but seriously, my biggest weakness is probably public speaking.
Okay. Acknowledges it directly.
Right. And she added nuance. She clarified, I'm actually very comfortable in smaller meetings with my teams, which shows confidence in one related area. But I admit I still experience some stage fright with larger audiences. Shows honesty in specifics.
Doesn't sound like a crippling weakness, just an area for growth.
Precisely.
Right.
And then came the most critical part, her ongoing effort to improve. She explicitly stated, at this point, I can handle these situations professionally, delivering information clearly, showing she's competent. But I would like to be more comfortable, so I can really enjoy the experience of presenting, rather than just survive it.
Sets a goal for herself.
Yes. And then she listed her actions. I've been taking online courses in presentation skills and actively volunteering for more opportunities to speak, even in less formal settings, just to build my confidence.
Concrete steps. That's key.
Absolutely. It shows self-awareness, a clear plan for improvement, and an underlying desire to excel even in areas that challenge her. It turns a potential negative into a story about growth and commitment.
So for preparing this answer yourself, what's the process?
Think of a genuine struggle you've faced in your work life, something you've truly grappled with. Be honest with yourself.
Okay.
Then, and this is the most important part, identify tangible ways you've worked to improve or are currently working to improve. Have you read specific books, taken classes or workshops, sought mentorship or feedback? implemented specific actions or strategies to mitigate its impact on your work.
Find the evidence of your effort.
Yes. These are the specific details you want to be ready to share. The key is to demonstrate that you are aware of your weak spots and, crucially, that you are proactive and committed to working on them. It's about development.
And that humor point, Rachel's chocolate joke, the source highlighted that?
Yes, it's specifically pointed out as an example where humor was used successfully, briefly, just that once to inject personality without distracting from the important information she needed to convey. It's a subtle but potentially powerful way to stand out positively and demonstrate a bit of emotional intelligence, but you have to be careful not to overdo it.
Right. Use sparingly. One moment, maybe.
Exactly. It's a seasoning, not the main dish.
Got it. Okay, let's look ahead. There's that forward-looking question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ah, the future goals question. This is your chance to share your ambitions, yes, but also to demonstrate that you have a realistic understanding of career progression, ideally within an organization like theirs.
So it's about showing ambition, but grounded ambition.
Exactly. It's about aligning your personal trajectory with the potential opportunities of this company, signaling that you're thinking long-term and could be a valuable investment for them.
And the source mentioned thinking about variations, too.
Yeah, while the question is often 5 years, it's smart to have thought about shorter horizons, like where do you see yourself in 1 year, which is about immediate impact and integration, and maybe even longer horizons like 10 years. Showing broader career vision, having a general framework helps.
What's a good starting phrase? The source suggested one?
A simple and direct one. In 5 years, I would like to be, just fill in the blank.
Any pitfalls to avoid here?
Definitely avoid saying something like, in your job, or anything that implies you're gunning to replace the interviewer immediately. Keep the focus on your own growth, increasing responsibility, acquiring new skills, and making a greater impact.
Okay. How did Rachel answer this one? You said she connected it back.
She did, very effectively. She linked it back to her earlier point about wanting growth, which created a nice, consistent narrative throughout her interview answer.
Consistency is good.
Very good. She said something like, as I mentioned before, I'm really interested in growth. In 5 years, I would like to be part of a company that is growing its business on a regular and consistent basis, ideally playing a key leadership role in that growth.
Links her goal to the company's success.
And then she expressed a clear yet realistic aspiration. I'd like to be in a vice president position, perhaps with a focus on new product development, overseeing a talented team, and driving strategic initiatives forward.
Specific but not overly rigid.
Right. And here's the really clever, brave touch. She linked it directly back to her stated weakness, showing commitment to overcoming it and thinking ahead.
How did she do that?
She added something like, and while I know that a role like that would require much more public speaking, in 5 years I absolutely plan on being ready for it. I intend to have continued honing those skills to a point where I can confidently lead large presentations and represent the company effectively.
Wow, that ties everything together beautifully. Shows forethought, ambition, commitment to personal development, and a strong understanding of what higher roles require. Very impressive.
It really is. It shows she's not just thinking about the next job, but about a career path and how she needs to develop to succeed on that path.
And the preparation strategy for this one, I feel like I know what you're going to say.
Probably. Crucially for this question, and honestly for all of them, the core preparation strategy is practice your answers out loud, not just silently in your head.
Why is saying it aloud so much more effective than just thinking it?
Because, as our source strongly emphasizes, if you only practice silently, it will inevitably feel much more stressful and awkward when you're actually in the room with the interviewer, speaking those thoughts aloud for the first time under pressure. Your brain isn't used to forming those sentences vocally.
Creates unnecessary friction.
Exactly. So record yourself. Then critically critique your own speech. Listen back. What parts were unclear? How could you clarify your thoughts better or express them more concisely? Were there awkward pauses where you seemed unsure what to say next? Were you speaking too fast out of nervousness or maybe too slow?
Self-assessment again.
It's invaluable. This self-assessment is key for building fluency, improving pronunciation, ironing out awkward phrasing, and ultimately gaining the confidence to articulate complex ideas smoothly and naturally. This is especially true, of course, for non-native English speakers. It's about building comfort with the physical act of speaking your professional story, not just having the ideas in your head.
Okay, so you've navigated their questions. You've told your story, highlighted your strengths, addressed weaknesses honestly, looked to the future. You've done your part. And then comes that moment, usually near the end,
The shift.
when the interviewer leans back and says, "So, do you have any questions for me?"
Yes. A pivotal moment.
And it's not just a polite closing formality, is it? It feels like more than that.
Oh, it's absolutely critical. It's a shift in the interview's focus. Absolutely. Now, it's truly your turn. It's your chance to gather the information you need to decide if this company, this role, this team is actually a good fit for you.
So it's partly for your own benefit to evaluate them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But it also serves another purpose. The types of questions you ask demonstrate your continued engagement, how well you've listened, how deeply you understand the role's potential challenges and opportunities, and your proactive critical thinking. Good questions make a great impression.
So preparation is key here too. You can't just wing it.
Absolutely not. Winging it here often leads to generic questions, or worse, saying, "Nope, you covered everything," which can signal lack of deep interest. The preparation strategy is vital. Before the interview, sit down and write out a handful of insightful questions.
What kind of questions?
Questions about the specific position, maybe the team dynamics, the company culture, recent changes or initiatives, the biggest challenges the role faces, opportunities for growth, things that show you're thinking seriously about working there.
And practice asking them.
Yes, practice asking them out loud too. Get comfortable with the phrasing. Now, chances are you won't need to ask all of them. Some might get answered naturally during the conversation earlier in the interview.
Right.
But it's always, always better to be over-prepared. Have maybe 3 to 5 strong questions ready in your back pocket. It shows you're prepared and genuinely interested.
Okay. Now, Rachel, in our mock interview, you said she absolutely nailed this segment.
She really did. Her
Yeah.
questioning was incredibly strategic and insightful.
What was her first question? You said it was impactful.
It was fantastic. She asked, imagine you're looking back on this hiring decision in a year. The person you hired has exceeded all your expectations. What did he or she do specifically that impressed you the most?
Wow. That's not a typical question. That's a power move.
It really is. It's not surface level at all. It cuts right to the chase.
Why is it so effective?
Because it probes beyond the standard job description. It delves into the interviewer's true definition of exceptional performance in this specific role. It reveals their deeper priorities, their vision for success, maybe even their pain points. It gives you a crystal clear picture of what success metrics really look like from their perspective, not just from the generic HR job posting.
That's brilliant. What was the interviewer's response to that?
It was very telling, very detailed. He didn't give a generic answer. He talked about the ideal candidate coming in, spending significant time initially just learning from the existing team, really understanding their current processes and challenges.
So listening first.
Yes, listening and learning first, and then beginning to make changes in an informed, collaborative way, not just imposing new ideas from the outside. He emphasized collaboration.
Okay.
He said he wants the team, under this new leader, to become a really well-oiled machine, actively bouncing innovative ideas off each other, coming up with exciting new designs, and making rapid, measurable headway into new markets.
That paints a very clear picture of expectations.
Absolutely. It clearly outlines the expectations for leadership. Learn first, collaborate, drive innovation, achieve measurable results. It tells Rachel exactly the kind of impact they are hoping for and the style of leadership they value.
Okay, fantastic first question. What does she ask next?
After getting that incredibly insightful answer, her follow-up was also very strategic. It showed she was thinking about the day-to-day reality. She asked, can you tell me a little bit more about the team that I would potentially be working with? What are their strengths and maybe what are some of the current challenges they might be facing?
Good question. Shows interest in collaboration, team dynamics, understanding the people involved.
Exactly. It moves beyond the abstract goals into the concrete realities of the work environment. It suggests she's already thinking about how she would integrate, how she would support the team, how she could contribute effectively.
And how did the interviewer respond to that?
This is where the interviewer got remarkably candid. And often, that level of honesty is a sign that you've successfully built strong rapport and trust during the interview.
Okay, what did he reveal?
He revealed that while the individual team members have long tenure, all over 5 years, which can be a strength.
Experience, stability.
Right. But he also admitted there's a little bit of frustration currently because of our recent lack of growth and, frankly, some stagnation in innovation. Hits on a key challenge.
Yeah, honest assessment.
And then he shared a really critical piece of information, almost like an admission. To be perfectly honest, this will be the 3rd time we've brought in a new team leader in just the last 4 years.
Wow, that's a red flag, or at least a yellow one. high turnover in leadership.
It definitely warrants attention. And Rachel, demonstrating great active listening and thoughtful inquiry, didn't shy away. She gently pressed, asking something like, "That's helpful context. Do you have a sense of what might be causing that rapid turnover in leadership?"
Good follow-up. Gets to the why.
Right. And he answered honestly again. He admitted that the last three leaders were all hired from within the company and reflected, sometimes it's just hard to think outside the box when you've been inside the same box for a long while.
Ah, so they recognize a need for a fresh perspective.
Exactly. He concluded by stating their explicit hope this time around is to bring in some new ideas and fresh energy from an external perspective and really get our development team back on track with some innovative approaches.
That is incredibly valuable information for Rachel.
Absolutely invaluable. It gives her a very clear, unvarnished understanding of the team's current state, their history, and the specific core challenge she would be hired to address. It frames the job not just as a role, but as a specific mission. Inject new thinking and overcome stagnation.
What's truly impressive then is how Rachel handled that potentially daunting information. How did she react?
Her final engagement after hearing all this candid feedback was perfect. She didn't sound scared off, she sounded energized. She responded with something like, "That makes a lot of sense, and I really appreciate you sharing that context. I'm actually excited by that kind of challenge."
Okay, embraces the challenge.
Yes, and she directly addressed their need. "I'm confident I can bring that outside-the-box thinking and the fresh energy you're looking for." Then she reiterated her enthusiasm, connecting it back. "I genuinely love to be part of helping this company achieve its growth goals and helping this clearly talented team thrive again."
Wow. She acknowledged the difficult information, showed she understood their pain points, directly connected her skills to their needs, and reaffirmed her strong interest.
Exactly. It was a very professional, persuasive, and decisive way to end that part of the interaction. It left a really strong final impression that she's not just qualified, but she understands the real challenge and is eager and capable of tackling it head on. So as the interview starts to wind down, maybe you've asked your questions, they've given their answers. Our source reminds us that it often concludes much like it began,
How so?
with another handshake as you prepare to leave, and potentially another brief moment of shared small talk as you're perhaps escorted out or waiting for the elevator.
Ah, so it bookends the experience.
Exactly, which just reinforces the importance of maintaining that consistent, polite, and friendly demeanor right from the very beginning all the way through to the absolute end. Your final impression should mirror your first confident, engaged professional.
That final handshake is your last physical statement.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Leave them with that positive, professional feeling.
And the overall message from our source, thinking about the whole process, especially for someone navigating this in English as a second language, what's the big takeaway?
It's truly empowering, actually. And it really resonates with why we do these deep dives, I think. The ultimate goal of all this structured practice, the research, the preparation, it's for you to feel genuinely more comfortable and more confident by the end of the interview than you did when you first walked in.
That feeling of growing ease, even during the interview itself.
Yes. That feeling of growing ease and self-assurance throughout the process isn't accidental. It's a direct result of your hard work, your diligent preparation, practicing out loud, anticipating questions. It's all about reducing that anxiety and allowing your true capabilities, your personality, and your fluency to really shine through.
Making the preparation pay off in real-time confidence.
That's exactly it.
Now, we touched on it briefly earlier, but let's just revisit the idea of humor for a second. Rachel's chocolate joke.
Right, that little moment of lightheartedness, it worked well for her. It showed personality.
But the advice isn't to load up on jokes, right?
Definitely not. The source is quite clear on this, advising that you limit humor to just one or maybe two very brief moments throughout the entire interview, if at all.
Why the caution?
Because too much humor, or humor that falls flat, can inadvertently distract from the crucial information you want to convey about your skills, your qualifications, your professionalism, and your genuine seriousness about the role.
So it's a potential risk if overused or misplaced.
It is. Think of it like seasoning on a dish, a delightful touch when used appropriately. But it shouldn't be the main course of your interview communication. It should enhance your personality subtly without overshadowing your professional message.
Good analogy. Use sparingly and wisely.
Exactly.
And finally, one last crucial point to reinforce, especially given our audience focus today: cultural awareness.
Yes, absolutely vital. We can't stress this enough.
Our source specifically mentioned the typical American preference in interviews for a more engaged, friendly demeanor.
Right. Including things like relatively direct eye contact, an open posture, maybe more smiling and nodding to show active listening.
But that's not universal.
Not at all. And this might differ significantly from interview norms in other cultures. Some cultures might prefer a more reserved, formal approach.
How so?
Well, for example, in some East Asian cultures, maintaining prolonged direct eye contact might be seen as disrespectful or even confrontational, whereas in the U.S., avoiding eye contact might be misinterpreted as shyness, dishonesty, or lack of confidence. A more reserved, less expressive demeanor might be expected as a sign of respect and professionalism in some places.
Whereas here it might be seen as disinterest.
Potentially, yes. Conversely, the level of directness common in some European cultures, like maybe Germany or the Netherlands, might be perceived as blunt or even aggressive in cultures that value more indirect communication styles, like many in Asia or Latin America.
Wow, lots of potential pitfalls there if you're not aware.
Huge potential pitfalls. And this is such a crucial point for you, our listener, to actively research and consider based on your own specific situation. Where are you interviewing? What's the likely cultural background of the interviewer or the company culture?
So understanding these cultural nuances is just as important as the language practice.
It absolutely complements it.
Yeah.
It significantly impacts how your overall presentation, your confidence, your politeness, your professionalism is actually received. Being effective is about being culturally intelligent, not just grammatically correct or fluent in English. They work hand in hand. #outro.
So we have taken a truly comprehensive deep dive today. We've explored the whole landscape of mastering the job interview, especially focusing on the unique challenges and strategies when English is a non-native language for you. We covered the absolute importance of those vital first impressions, everything from that initial confident handshake to navigating small talk smoothly and using powerful body language that speaks volumes before you even, get to the main questions.
And we really dissected some of those common, sometimes daunting interview questions. Tell me about yourself. What's your greatest strength? Even that tricky, what's your greatest weakness? We offered strategic approaches to turn these from points of anxiety into genuine opportunities to shine.
We also explored the nuances of behavioral questions, showing how you can structure your answers, maybe using that STAR method, to turn past setbacks or challenges into compelling success stories that highlight your resilience, your problem-solving skills, your leadership potential.
And critically, we flipped the script and highlighted the immense power you have when you ask insightful questions yourself. How it helps you evaluate the company, sure, but also how it demonstrates your engagement and critical thinking, effectively turning the tables to ensure the company is also the right fit for your career goals and aspirations.
Absolutely. And underlying all of this, the consistent, transformative theme that kept coming up again and again has been the pivotal role of intentional, deliberate practice.
Yes. Recording yourself, focusing on free talking rather than just memorization. Meticulously building that muscle memory both for pronunciation and for articulating your thoughts. It all leads to more natural, confident, and articulate responses in English, especially under pressure.
It really is the key to unlocking that confidence. So to leave you, our listener, with a final thought today, something to mull over.
Okay.
How might these specific intentional practice techniques we discussed today, primarily for job interviews, techniques like recording yourself, focusing on that spontaneous free talking versus rigid memorization, meticulously connecting your skills and experiences into a broader narrative, how might these be applied to other areas of your life?
Interesting question.
Yeah, think about situations where you need to present yourself effectively or persuade someone, or maybe just communicate more clearly and confidently under pressure. Presentations at work, difficult conversations, even just networking events.
Right. The principles seem transferable.
Exactly. What new insights could you potentially gain about your own communication style, your strengths, your areas for improvement, if you started treating some of these everyday communication challenges with the same level of analytical practice and preparation you might apply to a high-stakes job interview?
Applying that same rigor to other situations.
Imagine the confidence you could build, the fluency you could develop, not just for landing that next job, but for enhancing your effectiveness in almost every interaction.
That's definitely food for thought.
Food for thought indeed. Until our next deep dive. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a topic that, let's be honest, makes most of us break into a cold sweat just thinking about it. A job interview.
Oh, absolutely. It's high stakes.
Exactly. And not just any job interview, but specifically mastering it when English isn't your native language. We know the stress and anxiety around these situations can be, well, immense.
It really can.
And when you add that layer of navigating a non-native language, it becomes a whole new ballgame. That feeling of wanting to articulate perfectly, but the words just won't come. Or maybe worrying about cultural missteps.
Yeah, it's a unique kind of pressure, isn't it? You're juggling the content, the language, the cultural norms.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
it really is.
And our mission today really is to give you that invaluable shortcut. We want to make you feel incredibly well-informed and genuinely prepared for your next interview.
Right, like a confidence boost just from knowing what to expect and how to handle it.
Precisely. We're going to equip you with powerful, actionable strategies, dissect those common questions. You know the ones.
Oh, yeah.
The classic.
Exactly. And hand you practical English phrases that will not only help you ace that interview, but also significantly boost your comfort and confidence throughout the entire process.
And we've got some great material to work with, right?
We really do. We've extracted some truly fantastic insights from a source that meticulously breaks down real interview scenarios. It offers a wealth of practical advice that you can apply immediately.
Fantastic. So how are we going to tackle this? How are we structuring the journey today?
Well, we're taking you on a guided journey through a mock interview, basically. We'll dissect every crucial moment from that very first handshake.
The make or break moment sometimes.
It can feel like it. All the way to the concluding farewell. And it's not just about what to say, though. That's obviously a huge part of it.
Sure, content is key.
But critically, it's also how you present yourself. This includes all those vital nonverbal cues, body language.
And the preparation techniques that build genuine muscle memory. It's about getting to a point where your responses feel natural, confident, and authentically you.
So less reciting, more genuine conversation.
That's the goal. We want you feeling ready, prepared, and like you've truly got this.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's dive in. Where do we start? First impressions.
Exactly. Segment 1, the critical first impressions. You walk in, and the first thing that usually happens.
The handshake, that initial physical contact.
Right. The handshake is silent greeting.
Yeah.
Our source really emphasizes the significance of this as a nonverbal first impression. It speaks volumes before you say a single word.
So what makes a good handshake in this context? I always wonder if I'm doing it right. Too hard, too soft.
Well, the recommendation is firm, but definitely not too tight or, aggressive. You're not trying to win an arm wrestle.
Right, not a power play.
No, just confident and assured.
Yeah.
And importantly, modern etiquette suggests men and women alike use the same handshake style. Extend the right hand forward, make solid contact, maybe 1 or 2 pumps, and then release. Clean and simple.
Okay, firm, confident, equal. Why does it matter so much, though? Is it really that critical?
It absolutely is. It sets a positive professional tone immediately. It's your first point of connection, literally. A good handshake contributes significantly to that overall good first impression, suggesting confidence and respect. A limp handshake might suggest lack of confidence, while an overly aggressive one can seem, well, domineering.
Makes sense. Okay, handshake done. What usually comes next? That slightly awkward moment.
Small talk.
Yeah.
Breaking the ice, not just chit-chat. This usually happens right after the handshake, maybe as you're walking to the interview room or settling in.
Small talk. I find this part almost harder than the actual questions sometimes, especially in another language.
It can feel that way, but its purpose isn't really about deep conversation. Our source lists common topics. How are you doing today? Did you have any trouble finding us? Wait, maybe something about the weather, or how was your weekend? Very standard stuff.
Okay, standard. So how should you handle these? What are the strategies?
Keep your answers relatively short. You don't need to launch into a long story. Be polite and friendly. Maintain that positive energy.
Keep it light.
Exactly. And here's a specific tactic our source mentions. Feel free to turn the question back to the interviewer. If they ask about your weekend, you could say, "It was great, thanks. We celebrated my mom's birthday. How was yours?" It shows engagement and makes it more of a two-way street.
Oh, I like that. Takes the pressure off a bit, too.
It does. And think about the why behind small talk. Its true purpose is to build a more comfortable and relaxed environment before the formal interview begins. It's about establishing rapport, making a human connection, not conveying critical job-related information.
So it's really about easing the tension.
Precisely. It can significantly reduce that initial tension for both you and the interviewer, making the transition into the more serious questions much smoother.
That makes sense. Any tips for practicing this part? It feels a bit weird to practice small talk.
It might feel strange, But the source gives practical advice. Practice simple, non-personal questions and answers on your own or with a friend. Just getting used to formulating those quick, friendly responses in English can build comfort and fluidity. It's like warming up your conversational muscles.
Okay, warming up. I like that analogy. Handshake, small talk. What else contributes to that crucial first impression?
Body language and demeanor. Speaking without words. This is huge.
Right. How you carry yourself.
Absolutely. Let's start with posture. The advice is clear. Sit upright and look alert. Lean slightly forward, perhaps, to show engagement.
So, not slumping back in the chair like you're watching TV.
Definitely not. That appears way too casual, maybe even disinterested.
Yeah.
But you also want to avoid sitting stiffly upright like a robot. Find that balance relaxed but attentive.
What effect does good posture convey?
It conveys good energy, engagement, alertness. It says, I'm here, I'm interested, I'm ready.
Okay, posture noted. What about facial expressions? I worry about looking nervous.
Facial expressions are incredibly powerful. The key is to maintain an engaged face. Look interested, maybe even a little excited, and happy to be there. Smiling naturally at appropriate moments is crucial.
And nodding? Does that help?
Yes, smiling and nodding are really effective ways to show engagement and active listening while the interviewer is speaking. It signals, I'm following you, I understand, I'm interested.
Now, our source mentioned something about cultural differences here.
Yes, this is really important. The source points out a cultural nuance. In America, generally, a friendly, open, engaged demeanor with smiles and eye contact is expected and valued in interviews.
Okay.
However, in some other cultures, a more reserved, serious approach might be the norm, maybe seen as more professional.
So you need to be aware of the cultural context you're interviewing in.
Absolutely critical. If you're interviewing in a different cultural context than your own, understanding these expectations for nonverbal communication is vital. What reads as confident and friendly in one culture might seem overly familiar or even insincere in another.
That's a really important point. So posture, facial expressions.
Yeah.
How do these tie together?
They create an overall impression. Good posture, engaged facial expressions, nodding, smiling. They combine to project energy, attentiveness, and a positive outlook. And honestly, these nonverbal cues can sometimes be just as impactful, if not more so, than your actual spoken words, especially in those first few minutes.
Wow. Okay, so first impressions are a whole package deal. Handshake, small talk, posture, face. It all matters.
It really does. It sets the stage for everything that follows.
All right, so we've navigated those crucial first moments. Let's pivot now to the heart of any interview, the questions they're going to throw at you.
Yep, the main event.
And there's one that often kicks things off, a question that can truly feel like staring into the abyss for many. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Ah, the classic opener. Sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Deceptively simple. It's so open-ended that it can really throw you off balance. What do they really want to hear? Are they asking about my hobbies, my family, my entire life story? It's confusing.
You're right, it feels broad. But what's interesting is interviewers aren't actually looking for your life story. What they really want is a concise, relevant, professional narrative.
Okay, professional narrative, so focused.
Exactly. Focus on your education, your relevant work history, the specific areas where you have expertise, and maybe any key interests or skills that tie directly into the position you're applying for.
So it's like a professional highlight reel, tailored for this specific role.
That's a perfect way to put it. You're essentially answering the underlying question. Why are you sitting here applying for this job? And why are you a potentially good fit based on your background?
Okay, that clarifies it a lot. Our source gives some fantastic starting phrases too, right? Like little anchors to begin the answer.
Yes, really useful ones. For instance, you could begin with your educational background. Well, I studied at Harvard University and graduated back in 2012 with a degree in business. Something like that.
Or starting with recent work.
Right. I've been working at Smith Incorporated for the last 10 years, most recently as a manager. Or, if experience is your main selling point, I have about 12 years of experience in graphic design.
What about highlighting a specific skill?
Yeah, you could say something like, because of my time at Verizon, I actually have a lot of experience in customer service, particularly handling, challenging situations. These phrases help you immediately frame your answer in that professional context they're looking for.
Okay, got it. In the mock interview example with Rachel, her answer was pretty detailed, wasn't it?
It was superb, a great model. She structured it beautifully. Started with her academic foundation, graduated 2010, master's in toy design from University of Florida, clear, concise.
Then moved to work.
Seamlessly.
Yeah.
Detailed her 5 years at Happy Kids Creative. And crucially, she didn't just say she worked there. She highlighted how she grew into the director of toy production. That shows progression.
And she used numbers, right?
Yes. Sales grew steadily under my leadership by an average of 15% year over year. Quantifying your impact is so powerful, it makes your achievements concrete.
Then she explained why she was looking for a new job.
Exactly. She gracefully transitioned, stating she'd run out of room to grow with HKC. This signals ambition for further development, not dissatisfaction. Then she tied it all together by emphasizing relevant skills, leading creative teams, finding new markets directly relevant to the job she wants.
So she wove this clearer narrative: progression, achievement, ambition, relevance.
Perfectly put. She connected her past successes with the company's potential future needs. It was really well done.
This definitely underscores the need for preparation. How does the source recommend practicing for this specific question?
Oh, this brings us to a crucial strategy emphasized repeatedly. You absolutely must practice talking about yourself and your work history out loud.
Out loud, not just in your head.
Critically important. The source advises recording yourself. Ideal with video if you can manage it, because then you see your body language too.
And keep it brief.
Yeah, aim for around a minute. Concise. Then, and this is key, go back and critically listen or watch. What phrases worked well? Jot them down. Where did you stumble? Did you miss something important? Note alternative phrases or details.
And then repeat.
Repeat the exercise, maybe the next day and the day after. It's about iterative refinement, getting smoother each time.
But the source stresses not memorizing a script, right?
Absolutely. This is so important for fluency, especially for non-native speakers. It's not about writing a paragraph and memorizing it word for word. That almost always sounds stiff, unnatural, like you're reciting.
So what's the alternative?
It's about practicing free talking, using those key phrases and ideas as anchors. You build a mental bank of relevant vocabulary, key achievements, ways to phrase things.
So you practice constructing the sentences on the fly.
Exactly. The more you practice constructing sentences spontaneously, the more comfortable and natural you'll sound during the actual interview. It trains your brain to think in English in real time, rather than translating.
That makes a huge difference under pressure, I bet. Frees up mental energy.
It's a game changer. It allows for more authentic and spontaneous interaction. You're present in the conversation, not just retrieving memorized lines.
Okay, that's super helpful for tell me about yourself. Moving on, what's another common one? Maybe something that feels simpler.
How about, can you tell me how you heard about this position? Seems straightforward, right? Logistical.
Yeah, it feels like just information gathering. But you're saying there's more to it.
There is. It's actually a subtle opportunity to make a positive impression. It allows you to showcase any research you've done, or, importantly, to highlight if you were referred by an internal contact.
Oh, right. Mentioning a referral is always good.
It can be a significant advantage. It shows you have connections, that someone credible vouches for you. So it's a chance to subtly demonstrate proactivity or leverage your network.
What are some typical ways to answer this?
Our source gives varied examples. You could say, I learned about this position from one of your current employees, Bob Green, or maybe more personally, my friend Liz Miller, who works over in accounting, she forwarded me the listing.
And if it wasn't a referral?
Keep it simple and direct. I saw this position advertised on LinkedIn. Or I actually read about the position on your company website. Totally fine.
And Rachel's example in the mock interview combined a few things, didn't she?
She did, which was smart. She mentioned a friend forwarding the LinkedIn listing, so a referral element, but then said it prompted her to spend time researching on the company website.
Showing initiative.
Exactly. Learning more about the role and the culture. And she added another layer. I also read an article in Business Weekly about your work that really got me interested.
Wow, that's thorough.
It shows deep engagement, genuine interest, diligence. Not just a casual application. It suggests she's really invested in understanding the company.
Okay, so even a simple question can be an opportunity. How do you prepare for this one, especially considering the English practice angle?
Since the answer is usually factual and relatively simple, the preparation is straightforward but still vital. Think about your answer and practice it out loud before the interview.
Practice out loud again.
Always. And this is where it directly ties into English conversation practice for non-native speakers. Record yourself. Listen back specifically for challenging words. Maybe it's the company name, a person's name, a technical term related to where you found it.
Like LinkedIn or Business Weekly?
Right. Identify those words. Practice them separately, slowly. Focus consciously on your mouth position. For example, that the sound in month or three tongue between the teeth, feel the air.
Or maybe the rhythm or intonation of a name.
Exactly. English intonation is key. Rising pitch often signals uncertainty, while a falling pitch conveys confidence. As a word becomes more comfortable, speed it up gradually. The advice is really practical. Practice tough words 10, 20, even 30 times in a row.
That sounds repetitive, but I guess it builds muscle memory.
It absolutely builds muscle memory. It makes the pronunciation naturally easier and less of a cognitive load during the actual interview. Your message comes through clearly without you stumbling over a tricky word.
That focus on muscle memory, whether for pronunciation or free talking, seems like a running theme. Okay, next question.
Let's tackle this one. What attracted you to our company? This is your golden opportunity.
Golden opportunity for what?
To really demonstrate your knowledge of the company, yes, but more than that, to convey your genuine enthusiastic interest in working there specifically. It's not just about listing facts you found. It's about explaining why those facts resonate with you.
So showing a real connection.
Precisely. The core advice is to show you have a strong feeling about what you learned during your research. Connected to your own values, your professional goals, what excites you, this gives them valuable insight into what motivates you and what you'd bring to the position beyond just the skills on your resume.
Can you give some examples of how to start that kind of answer?
Sure. Our source suggests compelling starting points that show alignment. Like, I was really impressed with your company's commitment to renewable energy, which strongly aligns with my personal passion for sustainable development.
Okay, connecting to values.
Or, I was very excited to learn that you support your research department so robustly. That speaks to a culture of innovation where I know I would thrive.
Highlighting company culture fit.
Right. Another good one. I read that you encourage employees to spend time together outside of work, and that's something I really appreciate, as I value a collaborative and supportive team environment. These show you've dug deeper than the surface level and found specific aspects that genuinely attract you.
And Rachel's answer to this one was pretty impressive too, right?
Extremely strong.
Yeah.
It showed a depth of research that went way beyond the typical. She started boldly. To be honest, what really caught my eye was your focus on growth. Very direct.
So she identified a key strategic goal of the company.
Exactly. She explicitly mentioned being impressed with your ambitious goals and the clear plan you have for achieving those goals, implying she's read strategic documents or recent news. That's impressive.
And she mentioned employee support too.
Yes, she highlighted specific initiatives. I particularly loved learning about your continuing education initiatives, where you actually pay for employees to learn new techniques and skill sets. That's a concrete detail.
Shows she really paid attention.
And it shows she values learning and development, and she connected it back.
Yeah.
I think that really helps to build employee satisfaction and loyalty, which are qualities I deeply value in a workplace.
Wow, so deep research, clear alignment of her values with the companies, and thinking long-term.
Absolutely. It shows she's not just looking for a job. She's interested in this job at this company for specific, well-researched reasons.
Okay, so the preparation for this, it loops back again, doesn't it?
It really does. Reiterate the immense importance of that pre-interview research and preparation, using recordings, repetition, even if they don't ask this exact question.
The prep helps elsewhere.
Definitely. The time you spend practicing this response, understanding the company's values, mission, recent wins, even their challenges, it strengthens your answers to any related questions. Why this role? What do you know about us? What motivates you? It all gets stronger.
It permeates the whole conversation.
Exactly. It makes you sound genuinely interested, knowledgeable, and invested throughout the entire interview.
Okay, let's talk about another staple, maybe one people actually like answering. What would you say is your greatest strength?
Ah, yes, a chance to shine. It's a fantastic opportunity to highlight your best professional qualities, maybe even some personal ones if they're relevant.
But as we've discussed, it's not just about naming a strength, is it?
No, that's the key takeaway. State your strength clearly, yes, but then crucially explain how it helps you. How does it manifest in your work? What's the impact? It's the so what factor.
The source provided a framework for this.
A very clear and effective one. My greatest strength is stories. Simple structure, but powerful.
Can you give an example?
Sure. If your strength is flexibility, you might say, my greatest strength is probably my flexibility. I find that this is really important when I'm working with lots of different people, diverse opinions, and needing to adapt quickly to changing project requirements.
Okay, gives context and makes it tangible. What about other strengths?
You could highlight problem solving, My greatest strength is my ability to quickly analyze complex problems and propose innovative solutions. This is critical when facing unexpected challenges in, say, a project timeline or maybe initiative. I think my greatest strength is my proactive approach. I tend to identify needs and take initiative pretty early on. I find this invaluable for anticipating potential roadblocks and addressing them before they become major issues.
Got it. And Rachel's answer in the mock interview, how does she handle this?
Hers was excellent because she combined qualities and showed impact. She identified her strength as a combination of enthusiasm and persistence.
Okay, enthusiasm and persistence. How did she explain it?
She made it concrete. My work ethic just won't let me settle for less than my best. I'm able to persevere through challenges and setbacks without falling into frustration or anger. That shows resilience and a positive attitude.
And she added something about her team.
Yes, a great bonus, showing self-awareness and team spirit. And I've noticed that this tends to keep those around me in good spirits as well, which is definitely a plus, especially when we're facing tight deadlines or unexpected problems.
So it's not just a personal quality, it has a positive ripple effect.
Exactly. It demonstrates how her strength benefits not just her own performance, but also the team's morale and productivity.
How should someone prepare to answer this? Just pick one strength.
The source suggests a thoughtful exercise first. Write down several strengths you genuinely possess. Then, for each one, brainstorm specific examples, hours, or situations where you actually demonstrated that strength in your work or life.
So have a few ready.
Have a few in your back pocket. Practice speaking freely about these ideas. Use different phrasing each time. Remember, not memorizing a script. The goal is articulate authenticity. Then, for the interview itself, select the one or two strengths that seem most relevant to the specific job description or the company culture you've researched.
Tailor it again.
Always tailor. Connect your strength directly to the value you'd bring to that particular role. Sound natural, confident, and relevant.
Okay, strengths covered. Now, here's a type of question that can sometimes catch people off guard because it's not just about a trait, it's about an actual experience. Like, can you tell me about a time where you suffered a setback and had to maintain your enthusiasm?
The behavioral questions. Yes, these are common and really important.
Why do they ask these? What are they trying to figure out?
They're designed to assess how you actually perform in specific situations. Stressful ones, challenging ones based on your past experiences, or sometimes hypothetical scenarios. They're looking for evidence of your skills in action, not just your claims.
So proof, basically.
Exactly. Past behavior is often seen as the best predictor of future behavior.
And these questions can vary a lot, right?
Hugely varied and often unpredictable. That's why the practice we keep talking about is so vital. Our source lists other examples. Tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult client or coworker. Or describe a situation where you had to respond to an unexpected crisis.
What else?
Maybe tell me about a time you had to give difficult feedback to someone. Or how would you handle a disagreement with your supervisor about an important decision? The possibilities are vast.
So they're digging into problem solving, resilience, conflict resolution.
Your communication style, how you learn from mistakes, all of it.
Yeah.
They're trying to build a picture of how you operate under pressure.
Rachel's example for the setback question was quite detailed, wasn't it? It sounded like a story.
It was a masterclass in answering behavioral questions, really. She used the classic STAR method, even if she didn't explicitly name it. Situation, task, action, result.
Okay, break it down. What was the situation?
The situation. A big toy project, 2 years in the making, final stages. When bam, a competitor launched a version of the exact same toy. Devastating setback.
Ouch. Okay, task. What needed to be done?
The implied task was to salvage the project and figure out how to respond to this competitive threat while keeping the team motivated.
And her action, what did she do as leader?
Her action was key. First, acknowledge the setback, validate the team's feelings. But then, crucially, she challenged the group to think of this as a blessing in disguise, a chance to make our product even better. That reframing shows leadership and resilience.
Turning a negative into a positive.
Exactly. Her specific strategy was brilliant. Get the team to buy the competitor's product, analyze it, and list everything they wished it could do better. The list was long.
So using the competitor's launch as market research.
Essentially, yes. They then incorporated those improvements into their own toy.
And the result.
The result. They launched the refined product 6 months later, and it was far superior. She concluded, so in many ways, the competitor's product became the key to our success. It's a complete narrative arc.
Problem, action, positive outcome. Shows leadership, strategy, turning adversity into advantage. That's impressive.
Very impressive.
So how on earth do you prepare for these, given they're so unpredictable? You can't possibly prepare for every single scenario.
You can't. And that's why the strategy is crucial. Our source advises practicing responding to several different versions of behavioral questions every day in the days leading up to the interview.
Every day, different versions.
Yes. Don't just practice, tell me about a setback. Practice, tell me about a conflict. Tell me about a failure. Tell me about a time you persuaded someone. Tell me about a time you adapted.
So it's not about memorizing specific answers.
No, because you'll sound robotic, and they might ask a variation you haven't memorized. It's about building crucial vocabulary related to challenges, actions, and results. It's about developing a flexible narrative framework, like STAR, that you can apply to different experiences.
Training your mind to recall relevant examples quickly.
Exactly. It builds mental agility and gives you the linguistic tools, the phrases, the structures to construct a coherent and compelling story on the spot, even for a question you didn't anticipate perfectly.
Okay, that makes sense. Practice the process of answering, not just specific answers.
Precisely.
All right, from strengths and setbacks to the one everyone dreads, it feels like a trap. What would you consider your greatest weakness?
Ah, yes. The tightrope walk question. Honesty is key, but you definitely don't want to disqualify yourself.
Exactly. How do you navigate that?
The core advice is twofold. Show genuine self-awareness, absolutely. But even more importantly, demonstrate a proactive willingness to improve.
So it's not just about stating the weakness.
No, that's only half the battle. You state a weakness, then critically you discuss the specific, tangible steps you've taken or are taking to work on it.
Is there a framework for this one too?
Yes, and it's excellent. My greatest weakness is eights. It sometimes shows up in my work when I've done the ways I've worked to improve in this area are that structure hits all the key points.
Acknowledgement, context, and action.
Exactly. It allows you to be honest while immediately pivoting to your growth mindset and commitment to self-development.
What are some common examples of weaknesses that people use? Or maybe what kinds of weaknesses are safe to use?
Well, safe depends on the job, right? You wouldn't say your weakness is attention to detail if you're applying to be an accountant.
Good point.
But common examples that can often be framed positively include things like public speaking, maybe impatience, but you're learning to manage it, perhaps discomfort with delegating, but you're working on trusting your team, or even sometimes being overly critical of your own work.
Things that aren't fatal flaws for most roles.
Right. The key is choosing a genuine weakness, one that isn't absolutely central to the job's core requirements, and crucially, one that you are actively addressing.
In Rachel's answer, how did she handle this potentially awkward question?
Hers is a classic example of handling it with grace, honesty, and even a touch of personality. She started with a little humor.
Oh yeah, the chocolate joke.
Chocolate, just kidding. A brief, well-placed moment of levity. It humanizes her, breaks the tension slightly, but then she immediately got serious.
Which is important, don't linger on the joke.
Right. No, but seriously, my biggest weakness is probably public speaking. She then added nuance, which is smart.
How so?
She clarified, I'm very comfortable in smaller meetings with my teams, showing confidence in one context, but admitted she still experiences some stage fright with larger audiences. It makes the weakness more believable and less absolute.
And then the crucial part, what she's doing about it.
Exactly. She explicitly stated her ongoing effort. At this point, I can handle these situations professionally, but I would like to be more comfortable so I can really enjoy the experience rather than just survive it. That shows aspiration. And then the tangible actions. I've been taking online courses in presentation skills and actively volunteering for more opportunities to speak to build my confidence.
So self-awareness, a clear path for improvement, specific actions, and a desire to excel. That covers all the bases.
It really does. It turns a potential negative into a demonstration of resilience and commitment to growth.
How do you prepare for this question? It seems like you need a really well-thought-out answer.
You do. Think honestly about a genuine struggle you faced professionally, something you've truly grappled with. Then most importantly, identify tangible ways you've worked to improve.
Tangible ways? Like what?
Did you read specific books on the topic? Take classes or workshops like Rachel did? Seek out mentorship. Maybe implement specific strategies or tools to mitigate its impact. Get feedback. Those are the details you want to share.
So it's the action part that really matters.
It's the proof that you're not just aware of the weakness, but you're proactive about addressing it. That's what impresses interviewers.
And that quick humor element, Rachel used the source specifically mentioned that, right?
Yes. It highlighted her chocolate joke as a specific example where humor was used successfully, briefly, just once. It showed personality without distracting from the serious answer that followed.
So a light touch can work, but sparingly.
Exactly. Use it carefully to build rapport, show you're human, but don't let it overshadow your professionalism or the substance of your answers. It's a delicate balance.
Okay, moving from weaknesses to the future. Another common one. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
The ambition question. This is your chance to share your future goals, demonstrate that you have drive, but also show that you have a realistic understanding of career progression.
Realistic being the key word there. You don't want to sound like you expect to be CEO in 5 years if you're entry level.
Precisely. It's about aligning your personal trajectory with the potential opportunities within their industry, or even better, within their company, if you've done your research on typical career paths there.
Yeah.
It signals you're thinking long-term and potentially see a future with them.
Does it always have to be 5 years?
That's the most common time frame, but it's worth considering variations. They might ask, where do you see yourself in 1 year, or even 10 years? Having a general sense of your short-term and longer-term goals is helpful.
How should you start the answer? Is there a suggested phrase?
The source suggests keeping it simple and direct. In 5 years, I would like to be catcher-up. Just fill in the blank. But definitely avoid saying something like in your job or anything that sounds like you're directly targeting the interviewer's position.
Yeah, probably not a good move. Focus on growth.
Focus on growth, increased responsibility, developing new skills, making a greater impact, maybe leading projects or a team, depending on the role and your level.
And Rachel's answer, did it connect back to her earlier points?
It did, beautifully. It showed a consistent narrative. She said, well, as I mentioned before, I'm really interested in growth. In 5 years, I would like to be part of a company that's growing its business regularly and consistently, linking back.
Smart. And her specific aspiration.
She stated a clear yet realistic goal. Ideally, I'd like to be in a vice president position, perhaps with a focus on development, overseeing a team, and driving strategic initiatives. Ambitious, but plausible given her experience level.
And she did something clever, linking it to her weakness.
Yes, this was a really strong, brave touch. She connected it back directly. And while I know that role would likely require much more public speaking, in 5 years, I plan on being ready for it, having continued to hone those skills.
Wow, closing the loop.
Exactly,
Yeah.
to a point where I can confidently lead large presentations. It demonstrated forethought, ambition, that ongoing commitment to personal development, and a clear understanding of how her growth aligns with potential future needs of the company. Really well played.
Okay, so for this question, and maybe this applies to all of them again, the preparation strategy.
Practice out loud. I know we sound like a broken record, but it's critical. Our source strongly emphasizes this, especially for future-oriented questions, where you're articulating aspirations. If you only practice silently in your head.
It won't come out smoothly under pressure.
Exactly. It will be much more stressful when you're in the room, speaking out loud for the first time. Record yourself. Be your own critic.
What should you listen for?
Clarity, were your thoughts clear? Conciseness, did you ramble? Pauses, did you hesitate awkwardly? Pace too fast, too slow? Pronunciation. This self-assessment is invaluable for building fluency and confidence.
Especially for non-native speakers, building that comfort with just speaking the language under pressure.
Absolutely. It's about building comfort with the act of speaking English spontaneously and coherently, not just memorizing the content.
Okay, so you've skillfully navigated all their questions. You've shared strengths, addressed weaknesses, painted that future picture, and then comes that pivotal moment, usually near the end.
So, do you have any questions for me?
Exactly. And this isn't just a polite closing formality, is it? It feels like a really important shift.
It's a critical shift in the interview's focus. Now, the spotlight turns. It's truly your turn to gather information, to assess if this company, this role, this team is the right fit for you.
So it's as much for you as it is for them.
Absolutely. And beyond that, the types of questions you ask subtly demonstrate, again, how well you know their company, how deeply you understand the role, and your level of proactive critical thinking. It shows you're genuinely engaged and considering the fit seriously.
Makes sense. What's the preparation strategy here? Just think of some questions on the spot.
Definitely not on the spot.
Yeah.
Before the interview, you absolutely need to write down a handful of insightful questions.
Yeah.
Think about the position itself, the company culture, the team dynamics, maybe recent company initiatives or challenges.
Have them ready beforehand.
Have them ready. Practice asking them out loud too, so you sound natural. Chances are you won't need to ask all of them. Some might get answered during the main conversation.
Right, you don't want to ask something they just spent 5 minutes explaining.
Exactly. Listen actively throughout. But it's always better to be over-prepared with relevant, thought-provoking questions than to say, nope, no questions, which can sometimes signal disinterest.
Okay. Now, Rachel, in the mock interview, she apparently nailed this part. Her questions were really strategic.
Incredibly strategic. Her first question was particularly impactful, the kind that really makes an interviewer pause and think.
What was it?
She asked, imagine you're looking back on this hiring decision in, say, a year from now. The person you hired has exceeded all your expectations. What did he or she actually do that impressed you the most?
Wow. That's not your typical, what's a day like question.
Not at all. It's a power move in a good way. It probes beyond the standard job description, beyond the bullet points, and gets right to the heart of the interviewer's definition of exceptional performance in this specific role.
What does it reveal?
It reveals their deeper priorities, their vision for success, what truly matters to them. It gives you a much clearer picture of the actual success metrics and expectations, straight from the source, not just the generic HR description.
And how did the interviewer respond in the example? Was it revealing?
Very telling and detailed.
Yep.
He talked about the ideal hire spending time, learning from the team first, understanding their processes, and then beginning to make changes in an informed, collaborative way, not just storming in.
So collaboration and respect for the existing team were key.
Yes. And the goal was for the team to become a well-oiled machine, actively bouncing ideas off each other, coming up with new designs, and making rapid headway into new markets.
Okay, so that clearly outlines expectations. Learning, collaboration, driving innovation, achieving measurable results. Huge insight for Rachel.
Massive insight. It tells her exactly the kind of impact and leadership style they're looking for.
What did she ask next? Did she follow up on that?
Her follow-up was equally strategic, shifting focus slightly to the immediate team environment.
That's really helpful, thank you. Can you tell me a little bit more about the specific team that I would be working with? What are their strengths, perhaps, and what are some of the current challenges they might be facing?
Digging into the team dynamics. That shows interest in collaboration again.
Exactly. It shows she's thinking about the day-to-day realities, the interpersonal aspects, how she'd integrate, how she could contribute to that specific group. It moves from the abstract role to the concrete work environment.
And the interviewer's response here was quite candid, wasn't it?
Remarkably candid. And that often happens when you ask good questions and build rapport. People tend to open up more. He revealed that while the team members have long tenure, all over 5 years, which is generally good.
But there was a catch.
There was. He admitted there's a little bit of frustration currently because of our lack of growth and stagnation. A key challenge.
And then he revealed something about previous leaders. Yes, a critical piece of information, almost an admission. Truthfully, this will be the third time we've brought in a new team leader in just 4 years.
Wow, high turnover in that role. Did Rachel ask why?
She did. Demonstrating active listening and thoughtful inquiry, she gently pressed, asking what might be causing that rapid turnover. And he was honest.
What did he say?
He admitted the last 3 leaders were hired from within the company and reflected, sometimes it's hard to think outside the box when you've been inside the box for a while.
So they needed fresh perspective.
Exactly.
Huh.
He explicitly stated their hope was to bring in some new ideas and energy from an external perspective and get our development team back on track with fresh approaches.
That is invaluable information for Rachel. It completely reframes the job.
Totally. It gives her a crystal clear understanding of the team's current state, their history, and the specific underlying challenge she would be hired to address. It's not just about managing a team, it's about revitalization and bringing change. It's a mission.
How did Rachel respond to all this potentially challenging information? Did it put her off?
No, her final engagement was really impressive. She didn't shy away. She responded directly, that makes a lot of sense. I really appreciate you sharing that context with me. I'm actually quite excited by that kind of challenge, and I'm confident I can bring that outside-the-box thinking and fresh energy you're looking for.
Connecting her skills directly to their stated need.
Precisely. She finished by saying, I genuinely love to be a part of the company achieving its goals and helping this talented team thrive again.
Wow, that's handling it perfectly.
It really is. She gracefully acknowledged the tough information, showed she was an active listener who understood their pain points, and then immediately, confidently reiterated her enthusiasm and her suitability for that specific challenge. It's professional, persuasive, and leaves a very strong final impression. She showed she wasn't scared off, She was energized.
That's a masterclass in turning the questions for me section into a final persuasive pitch.
That's
So the questions wrap up. The main part of the interview is done. What happens next? Just pack up and leave.
not quite yet. As the interview winds down, our source reminds us that it often concludes much like it began, with another handshake.
Ah, the closing handshake. Bookending the interaction.
Exactly. And potentially another brief moment of small talk as you're perhaps being escorted out. This just reinforces the importance of maintaining that consistent, polite, professional, and friendly demeanor right from the very start to the absolute finish.
So keep the energy up, stay engaged until you're actually out the door.
Precisely. Your final impression should mirror your first: confident, engaged, respectful. That handshake is your final physical statement, a confirmation of the positive connection hopefully made.
Okay, good reminder. Now looking back at the whole process, what's the overarching goal of all this preparation we've discussed?
The overall message from our source, which really resonates with why we do these deep dives, is ultimately empowering. The goal of all this practice, the recording, the free talking, the research, is for you to feel genuinely more comfortable and confident by the end of the interview than you perhaps felt when you started.
Interesting. So it's not just about performing for them, it's about your own internal state.
Yes. That feeling of growing eyes, that increasing self-assurance as the interview progresses, is a direct result of your hard work and diligent preparation. It's about fundamentally reducing the anxiety, quieting that inner critic, and allowing your true capabilities and personality to shine through authentically.
Making the whole experience less stressful and more successful.
Exactly.
We touched on humor earlier with Rachel's chocolate joke. Can we revisit that quickly? What's the final word on using humor?
Right. It was a moment that worked well for her, showed personality. However, the source wisely advises limiting humor to just one or maybe two brief moments throughout the entire interview.
Why the caution?
Because too much humor, or humor that falls flat, can inadvertently distract from the crucial information you want to convey about your skills, your qualifications, your seriousness for the role. It risks making you seem less professional or perhaps not fully focused.
So it's like a seasoning. Use sparingly.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
It's a delightful touch, potentially not the main course. It should enhance your personality and build rapport subtly without ever overshadowing your professionalism or the core message you need to deliver.
Got it. Handle with care. Finally, let's reinforce that point about cultural awareness. It seems particularly important for non-native speakers interviewing internationally.
Absolutely vital. We mentioned the source highlighting the typical American preference for an engaged, friendly demeanor, direct eye contact, open posture, smiling.
But that's not universal.
Not at all. This might differ significantly from cultural norms elsewhere. In some cultures, a more reserved, formal approach might be expected, perhaps seen as more respectful or professional. Prolonged direct eye contact might even be considered confrontational in some contexts.
Whereas in the U.S., avoiding eye contact might seem evasive.
Exactly. Or think about expressiveness. What reads as engaged enthusiasm in one culture might seem overly emotional or unprofessional in another, where a calm, measured demeanor is valued. Directness, valued in places like Germany, might feel blunt or aggressive elsewhere.
So the takeaway for our listeners.
Research. If you're interviewing in a cultural context different from your own, take the time to understand the local expectations for professional communication, both verbal and nonverbal. What does confidence look like there? What does respect look like?
It's another layer of preparation.
It's a crucial layer. Understanding these cultural nuances can significantly impact how your overall presentation is received. It complements all the excellent English conversation practice you've done. It's about being not just linguistically competent, but also culturally intelligent and effective in that specific environment.
That's a really powerful point to end on. It's the whole package. Hashtag tag tag outro. So, we've taken a truly comprehensive deep dive today, haven't we? Really unpacking how to master the job interview, especially when English isn't your first language.
We covered a lot of ground.
We really did, from the vital importance of those first impressions, that handshake, the small talk, the body language that speaks volumes.
All setting the stage.
Right. Then we dissected those common, sometimes daunting interview questions. Tell me about yourself, your greatest strength, even that tricky greatest weakness.
Offering strategies to turn them into positive opportunities.
Exactly. And we explored the nuances of behavioral questions, showing how to craft compelling stories from past experiences, highlighting resilience and problem solving.
Using things like the STAR method to structure those answers effectively.
And critically, we flipped the script, highlighting the immense power of asking your own insightful questions, making sure the company is the right fit for you too.
Turning it into a genuine two-way conversation.
Underlying all of this, the consistent transformative theme that kept coming up was the pivotal role of intentional practice.
Couldn't agree more. That practice recording yourself, focusing on free talking over memorization, meticulously building that muscle memory.
It's key for achieving that natural, confident, and articulate response in English, especially under pressure.
It really is the foundation for success.
Okay, so to leave you, our listener, with a final thought, something to mull over, consider this. How might the specific, intentional practice techniques we discussed today, primarily for job interviews?
Techniques like recording yourself, focusing on spontaneous speech rather than scripts, connecting skills to a bigger story.
Exactly. How might those techniques be applied to other areas of your life? Areas where you need to present yourself effectively, persuade someone, or simply communicate more clearly under pressure.
Interesting extension, like presentations at work, difficult conversations, even networking events.
Precisely. What new insights could you gain about your own communication style, your habits, your strengths, your areas for growth, if you treated some of those everyday interactions with the same level of analytical practice you might now apply it to preparing for an interview?
Treating everyday communication with that same level of mindful preparation and reflection.
Imagine the confidence you could build, the clarity you could achieve, not just for landing that next job, but potentially for enhancing communication across all aspects of your life.
That's a powerful thought. Applying interview-level focus to broader communication skills.
Definitely some food for thought. Until our next deep dive, thanks for joining us.